Amanda J. Gentry live today, Bridgestone Arena, where they're going to have a hockey game today. Hey, congratulations to Bridgestone Arena for actually being able to host a hockey game today, considering what happened over the weekend.
What a mess.
Let me tell you,
Props to them.
I was worried not about today. I was worried about Saturday because I was supposed to go to the game Saturday, and I was worried that I was going to end up having to go to something like the Nutcracker or something even worse on Saturday to fill the void of no game. So thank goodness that they got this arena up and rolling, and the Predators game day is presented by Social Furniture. Shop local, shop social. Social Furniture, why go anywhere else? And don't forget, shop today during their Black Friday sale for a limited time and take an extra 20% off. Caroline is here today. So let's start on the Titans and the Bengals. Ian is here today too, by the way. Ian, how are you?
What up, what up?
Okay, let's start with the Titans and the Bengals because I just have one question that I want everybody to decide right here and now, and that includes the callers and everybody else. Did the Titans lose because the Titans cost themselves the game, or did the Titans lose because they don't have the horses to compete with the Bengals? Binary choice. Did they lose because they did it to themselves, whether it was all kinds of different, debacle, whatever this, the special teams errors, the trouble in the red zone, the fact that they couldn't do anything on defense, all the things that we went over all day yesterday. Was it that they did to themselves, or was it that they don't have the horses to compete with Cincinnati?
They did it to themselves.
You don't think it was a Cincinnati thing?
No, because I don't view Cincinnati as one of those teams like the Buffalo Bills or the Eagles, a team that's just totally stacked with a bunch of talent. The Bengals have plenty of talent. They've got good players, but I don't think that the Bengals have a roster that is overly intimidating. Yeah, they have a better quarterback, but I look at the Titans, and it was the missed field goal, and it was the missed opportunities in the red zone, and you could say, oh, well, the missed opportunities at the red zone, that wouldn't have happened if you had better players. Well, the Titans have been one of the best red zone teams in the NFL all season long. So I say the Titans did it to themselves because they didn't take advantage of the opportunities that they worked themselves into.
Ian, do you think that it was a horses, or do you think it was a Titans did it to themselves?
Part of me feels like it's a horses thing. But maybe that's because the Titans didn't have all theirs full go. I don't know. They didn't have Jamar Chase, and they didn't have Mixon. So the Mixon, Chase, Higgins, Burrow combo is just better than the Titans combo as far as when you talk about offense and skilled position players. So that part does worry me.
Okay, so let's take them out, though. If it's Burrow, Pirine, Higgins, Hayden Hurst, is that stable of horses too much for the Titans to overcome, Ian?
I don't know. It feels like they would obviously they have more of a chance. I guess the wild card there is Burrow, but I think they would have a chance. Yeah, and they did have a chance.
So here's what I think. Phil Simms said this on Friday, and boy, you talk about a take and that take being right. Phil Simms said that whatever team gets to 21st was going to win the game. And the Bengals
that is what happened.
got to 21st, and they won the game. So, to me, I think the Titans did this to themselves. I do. I think that the red zone, I go back to the red zone. Bob Shoop's going to be here at the top of next hour doing a full film breakdown. And I am going to be all over Bob, asking him about the play calling inside of the red zone. And not just the play calling, but the personnel choices. They throw a freaking screen or whatever you want to call that. It was basically offensive pass interference by Treylon Burks, and they didn't call it. But you throw that rub route to Jeff Swaim, and yes, Tannehill missed and it went over his hands a little bit, but at most, Jeff Swaim gets 4 yards. Why are you throwing the ball to Jeff Swaim inside the red zone, first down and 10 at the 16-yard line? It's stupid. Stupid.
When Treylon Burks is blocking for Jeff Swaim.
Stupid. And so, that is one thing I'm like, well, Cincinnati didn't dial up the call to Jeff Swaim. So that's your fault. Then I go back to the missed field goal from 35. And this is where the Phil Simms thing comes into play. Again, first team to 20. So if Caleb Shudak makes that field goal, now it's 13-10 going to the half, and the Titans get the ball back. And now you only need a touchdown at any point in the second half in order to be the first team to get to 20. And so all the opportunities they had that they freaking blew, and they blew them. You know, they hit the ball to Burks down the field. They get the roughing the passer, and then all of a sudden they call a second down play deep inside the red zone where they don't bring on a single pass catcher except for Hooper. And the other guys are Swaim and Rader and Henry and Hollister. And Bob even texted me on Sunday, and he said, oh, I knew that it was a run when I saw 8 was the only wide receiver in the game. And so they did that to themselves with 2 of their 3 red zone opportunities. Then I thought, you know, again, Shudak missed it, so they did that to themselves. They hit the snapper, which everybody knows you can't do. They did that to themselves. I mean, some of me, like I was a little torn today thinking about this because part of me is like, hey, they hit that ball to T. Higgins, and I know, you know, there was some bitching afterwards about could it have been offensive pass interference. I mean, I think that was a great throw by Joe Burrow, but I really thought that was a great physical catch by T. Higgins. And I think T. Higgins is a really good player. And I was thinking about, you know, I was going to ask the question, did Vrabel lose the game or did Robinson lose the game? Because it's obvious that the poor drafting over the last couple of years, while they've been able to get by in some regards, you know, if they hadn't drafted Isaiah Wilson and they had drafted with a couple picks later T. Higgins, who went to the big, if they had T. Higgins and Corey Davis leaves in free agency and it's A.J. Brown and T. Higgins, then I feel pretty good about the Titans' pass-catching options, and I especially think it's better if T. Higgins isn't on their team and T. Higgins is on your team. And I just use that as an example. But I think it was a Vrabel thing.
It was a Vrabel thing.
I think the Titans did this to themselves. You know, and that's before you get to the poor tackling. You know, am I supposed to believe that Samaje Perine is just so good that the Titans couldn't get away from the tackling?
Well, he looked like it on Sunday.
But do I actually believe that?
I don't.
So, I mean,
And maybe I'm wrong.
yeah, but like when David Long Jr. just slides off the guy or doesn't take a good angle, or Amani Hooker, man, he stunk. You know, all those things happen. The Titans did this to themselves. I think that's the frustrating part, is the fact that deep down inside, nobody's going to listen to any. I mean, the only thing that matters is that the Titans are 0-3 against Cincinnati, Buffalo, and Kansas City. That's a real stat. Regardless of how many times we can parse why they lost each of those 3 games or how many excuses that we can make for them. But they hold themselves accountable inside the building. I wonder if maybe they've lost a little bit of that. If maybe that win over Green Bay, the Todd Downing thing, the lack of accountability with that, you know, if that's just played a role into the Titans just kind of losing their edge a little bit. And that's probably where they lost the game. That's the frustrating part, is the lack of accountability, at least outwardly with the Titans. I felt better when Vrabel said after the game, when he talked about the fact that he was like, you know, hey, well, you know, all 4 phases didn't play well, including coaching and special teams and offense and defense. And then he's out there making excuses for the kicker who missed a 35-yard kick. And we got people calling in yesterday talking about how apparently there was a wind gust that happened right as he went to approach the 35-yard ball and missed it off to the right. And I'm like, man, that is what losers say. And so I look back on it and I'm like, you know, everybody knows how much I love Joe Burrow. But, man, the Titans really screwed that one up. And it's like nobody cares that I can say, well, you know, Titans just didn't play well on Sunday. Nobody cares about that. Everybody's like, no, you're just not good enough. Derrick Henry didn't run the ball well enough. And yet it does feel like the Titans did this to themselves. It does feel like the Titans, just like in the playoffs the last 2 years, it feels like the Titans are their own worst enemy sometimes. And that's frustrating. And it needs to stop.
And it feels like, too, you know, because while I do subscribe to the belief that the Titans are lacking talent in several different areas, pass catching being one of them, and they're injured in the defensive line, the Titans win games. And the Titans are tough in 2 specific areas. Mm-hmm. On the defensive line, getting to the quarterback, and running the football. They couldn't do either of those things.
Well, you know why? You know why? Because the Titans get their toughness from whom?
Mike Vrabel.
Okay, so that goes to everybody on that field. Everybody that plays for the Titans, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's Andrew Adams, whether it's Dylan Cole, you know, guys that really aren't that good, but, you know, they do what they're supposed to do.
Give him his due.
I mean, he's fine. He's a practice squad guy.
It's fine.
You know, that's my point, though. Like, if you're good, you're not on a practice squad. So they went and got a practice squad guy. Dylan Cole's a practice squad guy. You know, these aren't 53-man roster guys. and they play better than they are, right?
Yep.
And it's because Vrabel toughens them up. Well, that works against almost every team in the league, but it does not work against Cincinnati. And it has not worked 3 times against Cincinnati. And you know why it doesn't work against Cincinnati?
Because Cincinnati is just as tough.
Why are they just as tough?
Joe Burrow.
Because that guy is as tough as Vrabel, if not tougher. And the toughness that he has transcends to everybody else on that team. So, I mean, I'm not saying the Titans are going to go to Philadelphia and win this week, but I'm not ruling it out either. Like, because I don't know if Philly is good at getting punched in the mouth. And I know AJ's not good at getting punched in the mouth. But with the Bengals, they don't care about that. The Bengals are one of the toughest teams in the league, and it's because of the quarterback they have, which then goes back to the original question, which is, okay, if the number one way the Titans win games is by out-toughing people, and they can't out-tough the Bengals, then did they lose because the Bengals had T. Higgins, and the Bengals had Joe Burrow, and the Bengals had Trey Hendrickson and DJ Rader, and you didn't? Just like how the Titans beat the Commanders. Now, I don't think the Commanders are an overly tough team, but the Titans beat the Commanders because they had Derrick Henry and Jeffrey Simmons, and Washington didn't. And then I asked this question. Titans-Bengals again at Nissan Stadium. We both picked the Titans this week. Who are you picking?
I have to pick the Bengals.
Ian, Titans-Bengals at Nissan Stadium. Let's say right now, if the playoffs started today, the wild card matchup would be Cincinnati at Tennessee. Who would you pick?
Cincinnati.
I think I'd pick Cincinnati too.
I think we have a big enough sample size over the past few seasons to know that there can be changes and additions and subtractions, but the Bengals just have the Titans' number.
So, then wouldn't we have to say they have better players? If we're saying that the Titans did this to themselves, that the Titans just made mistakes,
Which
then
is
the
true.
Titans should be able to go out there. Again, if the first round of the playoffs is Cincinnati here, and let's just be frank, it's going to be one of 5 teams. It's either going to be Cincinnati, the Chargers, the Ravens, the Dolphins, or the Bills. It's going to be one of those 5 teams in here for the wild card round. Let's say it's Cincinnati. You got a 20% chance that it's Cincinnati again. And we're saying, well, they did this to themselves. They lost themselves the game on Sunday, and yet we're all going to pick Cincinnati now. So then we don't have faith in the Titans in not screwing it up again if they play Cincinnati.
I guess so. Yeah. And then I guess would both things be true on a more macro perspective of the Bengals just have tougher and better players than the Titans? But in this one specific instance, the Titans had the opportunity to win that game. The Titans had 3 opportunities to win that game that they didn't take. So I think both things can be true.
See, I just don't know. Like, I understand
Like in
the
this one
opportunities.
specific instance.
The fact that the Titans didn't score the 2 touchdowns that they should have scored. You know, that, yes.
That's how you lose games.
But on top of it, like, let's go back to the hitting the snapper in the head. If they don't hit the snapper in the head, they get the ball back down 7 with 1:57 to go and no timeouts. You feel confident the Titans are going to score a touchdown there?
I really don't.
So that's where I'm like, you know, and then this goes back to Cincinnati. Cincinnati's defensive line. I talked about it with TD on the pregame show on Sunday. I talked about it on Friday. Like, that's a really good defensive line. And Bob will tell us what the tape showed, but they dominated the Titans' offensive line. You're telling me that, okay, the Titans struggled in the red zone. Well, how much of that? I mean, Cincinnati ran the ball from the 7-yard line, ran it in for a touchdown with a backup running back. You know, that physical dominance, was that an accident? I mean, Derrick Henry didn't run the ball well against them last year in the playoffs. Now he's coming off the broken foot. But I guess I'm a little torn here. And maybe we're not giving Cincinnati's roster its due. We certainly don't give Cincinnati's quarterback his due. Because I was telling somebody today, he's as good as he's as good as Mahomes. He's as good as Allen. He's as good as all of them. And every time that they play, the Titans, there was a certain sense of urgency when they played Mahomes on defense, and a certain sense of urgency when they played Rodgers on defense. And they didn't have that same sense of urgency against Joe Burrow. And I'm telling you, that dude, it would not shock me if he found his way back to the Super Bowl. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. We'll get your reaction to that, 615-737-1025. And I guess it's a 2-part question. One, do you think the Titans just screwed up on Sunday? Or do you think that the Bengals are just better than them? And 2, if the playoffs were to start today, Cincinnati would be the team that would come in here again. How do you feel about playing Cincinnati again? 615-737-1025. Plus, Joe Burrow said something that I heard that I just honestly, I almost dropped my pants for Joe Burrow when I heard this. It was that dude. There's a part of me that hates the fact that he's going to be tormenting the Titans clearly for like the next 15 years. There's also a part of me that's like, man, he's a stud. We'll get to that. 615-737-1025. FanDuel Sportsbook is my official sportsbook app, and now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now new customers get a no-sweat bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. FanDuel has all of your favorite bets from the money line to point spreads to player props, and you can combine your bets for a chance at a bigger payout with a same-game parlay. With live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started, and you'll get paid your winnings quickly. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today with the promo code JGM for your no-sweat first bet. That's promo code JGM and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. First online real money wager. Only refund issues, non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 1-800-889-9789.
Every Wednesday at 8:45. Join Robbie and Rex Road for The Choice is Yours.
2 sports questions, 2 non-sports questions.
They'll answer a couple of questions about life and sports. The Choice is Yours is built by Jarrett Companies. You have a choice. So when you have a need for site and utility work, fire protection, concrete and asphalt services, the choice is simple. It's Jarrett Companies. For more, visit JarrettCompaniesInc.com. The choice is yours. Wednesdays at 8:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Hey, it's Jared calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all-natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep, rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Airlane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
Is there an upside to today's rising inflation and interest rates? There is if you own a home. While houses in Nashville are getting harder to sell, they're more attractive than ever to rent. Renting delivers regular cash flow, appreciation, and tax benefits. And when you hire Renters Warehouse as your property manager, you won't have to find tenants, collect rent, or handle those annoying 3 a.m. maintenance calls. Book your free home rental price analysis today at renterswarehouse.com or call 615-398-9550. Renters Warehouse. You can't buy happiness, but you can rent it.
It's on. It's happening.
Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Defense! Everybody gets a game ball. Yes, sir. Their lead back. 17 carries for 38 yards. And I saw tip balls. I saw sacks. I saw Mike Hilton jumping in there for tip balls. It doesn't matter whose number was called. Everybody on that defense stepped up to the plate. That was awesome. Offense, everybody gets game balls. myself over 100 yards rushing. You guys got over 100 yards rushing. Okay, we played the style of game we needed to play today. Okay? And I'm not leaving out special teams. You guys get game balls too.
Special teams, great job of getting that field goal kicker to miss a 35-yard kick. And a great job to get them to hit the snapper in the head. Way to go.
Special teams.
Everybody gets a game ball.
Like Oprah, you get a game ball. You get a game ball.
This was an everybody gets a game ball game for Cincinnati. Now, that being said, if the playoffs were to start today, the Titans would host the Bengals at Nissan Stadium in the opening round of the playoffs. All three of us have said if that were to come to pass, we would all pick the Bengals.
I don't want any part of the Bengals in the playoffs.
Let me tell you something. Joe Burrow. Boy, I tell you, I love this Joe Burrow. Every time I watch him play, I'm like, this freaking guy is so amazing.
I think you like Joe Burrow more than I like Joe Burrow, and I have a picture of Joe Burrow on my phone.
I might. So Joe Burrow was asked about, I guess is this the kind of game that good teams win or whatever? They played this on the Sunday Night Football pregame show, and even the Tony Dungy and Jason Garrett they were like, woo! This was Joe Burrow after the game on Sunday.
Is this the kind of game that successful playoff teams need to be able to win?
Yeah, this is the kind of game that great teams win. It's not always going to be pretty. This is the NFL. You're playing really, really good teams on the opposing end. It's not going to be pretty all the time, but you got to find ways to win, and we're starting to do that.
Oh, I want no piece of that guy. That guy, I said this yesterday. I thought I was going to get a bunch of people that flipped out when I said this. I see John Elway with him. I think he is. I just see he's not as mobile as Elway because of the knee. But although then again, I guess against the Titans he was running all over the place. I see him as Elway and a Herbert as Marino. I love them both. I'd rather have Elway. And I love
I'd much
Elway.
rather have Burrow over Herbert, 100%.
I love Elway, which then, is Tua Jim Kelly. Tua's probably not as good as Jim Kelly. But
we can go down this rabbit hole.
That's, you can go back to 1983. But, boy, I tell you, Joe Burrow, I want no part of him in a playoff rematch. Right now, how many teams would you rather play? Again, if the playoffs started today, the Titans would have to play Cincinnati. And we've said this. There's 5 teams. I guess technically 6 if we want to count the Jets. I don't. So I think it's either going to be Buffalo, Miami, Cincinnati, Baltimore, or the Chargers that would come in here. The Titans will either be the 3 seed or the 4 seed, and one of those teams will either be the 5 seed or the 6 seed. My number one choice would be the Chargers, even though I love Herbert.
Yeah, I would go Chargers,
Ravens,
Dolphins.
It's probably fair, but the Dolphins are explosive. I don't know what to make of the Dolphins. The Dolphins, I guess I don't know what to make of the Dolphins for one really, really big reason.
What?
I don't watch them.
I guess that's so,
fair. It's really hard for me. I mean, okay, let's just go around the room, just for fun. Titans, Chargers, Nissan Stadium, playoff game. Who are you picking?
Titans.
Okay, Ian. Majority rules. Ian?
Titans, probably.
I think I'd pick the Titans, too. I just think the coaching gap would be – I think the Titans are going to go to L.A. and beat the Chargers in a couple of weeks. So we'll say Titans. Titans, Ravens, Nissan Stadium, wild card weekend. Who are you taking?
Ooh, I lean Baltimore.
Ian?
I don't know. Ravens struggling a little bit right now. I think I might actually lean the Titans slightly.
I'm going to go Ravens. Just because I just don't trust the Titans right now.
I think it'd be an interesting game, though.
Titans, Dolphins, Nissan Stadium in a playoff game. Who are you taking?
Titans.
Ian?
I don't know what. Titans.
So I'm a little surprised by that. I'm taking the Dolphins.
Yeah, I was. That one's really close. I have a feeling Waddle and Hill might. I don't know. That would be tough. They'd have to get a lot of pressure on Tua.
Oh, they'd have to make Tua's life miserable. That's the only way they could win that game.
And I know this was a Tyreek Hill-less Dolphins last year, but I just think back to how well Tannehill played against the Dolphins last year and how awful he plays against the Bengals. I feel like the Dolphins are the antithesis of the Bengals to Ryan Tannehill.
I thought Tannehill played great on Sunday. I thought he played great.
But he has a bugaboo against the Bengals.
But what did Tannehill not do right on Sunday?
He was fine on Sunday.
I thought he was
It was everybody
great.
else around him on Sunday.
I thought he was excellent. Other than the missing Robert Woods out of the backfield, he still threw the ball to Chig. Chig needs to catch it. It wasn't a great throw. Chig needs to – you get your hands on the ball, you need to catch it.
I thought he was fine.
I thought Tannehill was – I thought he was not perfect, but I thought – you know what's funny?
What?
Joe Burrow's quarterback rating was 97 even. Tannehill was –
96 something?
No, I want to say Tannehill was like 97.1. So Tannehill technically was – no. 91 even. Tannehill was 91.7. So Tannehill was a higher rated passer on Sunday than Burrow. Now, I'm not saying Tannehill played a better
Joe
game.
Burrow over
but
Tannehill.
I'm saying, like, I don't think Tannehill's got a Bengals. I don't think he's got a Bengals thing up his tush. I just, because I think he played well yesterday. But I would take the Dolphins. So what is that? Did you guys both pick Titans, right?
We both picked the Titans.
All right, I picked the Dolphins. Bills.
Bengals.
We all picked Bengals.
Bengals.
So basically, they need to get
either
the Chargers or the Dolphins. And even then, I don't feel good about Dolphins.
Or Chargers. I don't feel great about the Chargers either.
I feel fine about the Chargers.
And Ravens is kind of iffy. Ravens would be a tricky game.
The Ravens are a one-man team, but
They
the
always
one
have
man beat the Titans
Pretty good
2 years ago in a playoff game. And the only way the Titans mustered any points in that game was with A.J. Brown. And I don't care what Twitter says today about how Traylon Burks is better than A.J. Brown, which is, we'll probably dive real deep into that at some point this week, probably tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. But I just don't. I don't know. I would pick the Ravens. I would. And not only that, let's be honest. With almost all these teams, but especially with the Ravens and the Bengals, the mismatch at kicker is an issue. The fact that the Titans can't kick, and that those
the fact
teams,
that the Ravens are the best kicker in the league.
The best kicker ever. The guy almost drilled a 67-yarder to win it. I had to do the math when I watched him kick, and I was like 50, 60, 70, 70, 69, 67-yard kick. I mean, and the Titans can't hit a 35-yarder.
He was just short on that, too, wasn't he?
Just short.
I mean, that was
and he was mad because he was like, I know I can hit it.
That's even the difference with the Bengals, too.
Oh, hell yes.
The fact that Evan McPherson could go out there and hit a 47-yarder, and if the Titans ever did that, I would be shaking in my boots.
I mean, the Titans' kicking is so bad that it is – I had a guy yesterday that was like, take it easy on old buddy out there that missed the 35-yarder. It was his first game in the NFL. I'm like, it was 35 yards. High school kids can kick 35-yarders.
You need to hit 35-yarders.
It was 35 yards.
We've already determined it was the wind gust.
Whoosh. Here comes Caleb Shudak out there for his first ever kick out here in the NFL. No, I guess he already made one before that.
He made one before that.
Here's Caleb Shudak out there to make his second ever kick. This one should be easy, Bob, because it's from 35 yards. He lines it up. Snap is good. Hold is good. Kicks on the way. Whoosh. And somehow ended it up in section 219. I don't know how it got there, but it did.
He's not the first ever NFL kicker to miss a 35-yard field goal.
How many other? I mean, I'm talking about like your first crack at an opportunity and you miss a 35-yarder because a lot of guys.
I mean, it's pretty brutal.
If you don't have any resume, if you don't have any resume, and in your first game, you come out there. It's not like he was the Groza winner. I don't think he was. Was he the Groza winner? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
It's not like he was a first round. Sebastian Janikowski out of Florida State. He goes up there to kick that ball, and he's got no resume, and he's 5'5", and he's going to kick it. And he misses a 35-yarder.
Yeah,
I don't know if guys get second chances oftentimes. Now, the Titans are going to roll with him because Vrabel, boy, he's defending his 35-yard
Well, kickers are a position that you cannot afford a second chance.
That
second chance could be in the Super Bowl.
Except the Titans have cut all these kickers that have been bad for them over the years, and they all are on other teams kicking right now. And nobody ever wants to look at the special teams coach. The special teams coach, I'll tell you, with the Titans, I mean, I made the joke yesterday, and I stand by it. Like, instead of telling the Titans that they should fire the special teams coach after all these years of bad special teams, I think I'm going to go to the mayor. And I think I'm going to be like, hey.
Going to go to the mayor.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to say, hey, you should tell the Titans that the $1.2 billion for the new stadium, the most taxpayer money ever in the history of stadiums, that the $1.2 billion is contingent on getting a new special teams coach.
A new stadium is contingent on the special teams coach.
Shudak did not win the Lou Groza Award winner, but you know who did?
Hold on, let me guess.
What year?
In 2011.
Shudak is like 50 years old? How is he 50
No,
years
I said
old?
Shudak hasn't, but you know who did in 2011? Randy.
Oh, Fat Boy.
Randy
Randy
Bullock.
Bullock.
Yeah.
Randy. The glory days in 2011.
Could he kick over 50 then? Probably not. 615-737-1025. We'll get to your phone, 615-737-1025. Plus the Titans with a under-the-radar transaction today. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman & Company, 615-737-1025. Again, we are live today at Bridgestone Arena where they've got a game tonight against the Anaheim Ducks at 7 o'clock. Hey, play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket. And Superbook Sports voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey, it's Mike from Newton Ford South. I don't know about you guys, but I love this time of year. I get to see all the beautiful fall colors, the fantastic weather. We're getting deeper into football season. It's just a reminder that we have so much to be thankful for. And while the automotive industry has been a bit of a roller coaster, we are still so thankful to serve the local community. We love being able to partner with local schools and organizations. We're also so thankful that we've earned business not only from our local communities, from places all across the United States. The response from customers far and wide is, "This was so amazing. I've never had a car buying experience like this." Check out our reviews online to see for yourself. So no matter if you're in the market for a new car, looking to sell your car, or even service your car, come find out why Newton is different. Change your experience. Come see us in store or visit us online at newtonfordsouth.com.
Can you beat Vegas this football season? Hey, it's Chase McCabe for Superbook Sports. Superbook gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want? I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
On the Wednesday edition of Chase, Willie, and D. Mace, Caroline Fenton in for me. They'll talk to Chris Mason, Preds analyst, at 11. Jonathan Hutton at noon and get you set for Titans and Eagles. It all begins at 10. 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Hey, this is Jordan Rogers, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
Well, what you figured as far as your role here, Robert, this year, is this the kind of season you expected? I mean, you had a little bit of a hand in trying to come here as well. Is this about what you signed up for?
Yeah, I would say we're winning and contending for playoffs.
As far as the offense goes, what do you like about what you've done? What are some things that have got to get better, maybe for you guys to kind of hit your stride here down the stretch?
I would say these are like off-season questions. We're still in the mix. There's a lot of football left. We got to go and win these games and get after them. We got Philadelphia this week. We got to get a win. We're trying to get in playoffs, trying to go to the Super Bowl. We're doing whatever it takes to win these games.
Those are off-season questions, Robert Woods says. And then Robert Woods, that was yesterday, today, creates $2.6 million in salary cap space for the Titans by reworking his deal. And apparently, word on the street is, this is just some insurance money, just if they got to sign some more people like the Mario Edwards and the Andrew Adams and the guys that you've never heard of that come in here, and then some of them are good and some of them are terrible. And so that's just, creating a little flexibility there. But according to Paul Kaharski, and I could have looked this up today, but I was glad Paul did this because then I didn't have to do it.
Yep.
The move leaves $2.2 million in dead cap money for next year. Robert Woods essentially had no dead cap money through the next 2 years, which I believe he signed, not just this year, but the next two after. And so there's a little bit of dead cap money, which is usually a sign that maybe they want Robert Woods on the team next year. What did we make of the Robert Woods move today?
I think the interesting thing is not the cap space this year, because we're going to go out and make a trade.
Well, they could sign somebody
off of a practice squad, I know, but I don't think it's any sort of big-time move in the works for $2.6 million.
Somebody could be released. Like somebody on a bad team could get released.
Yeah.
And then the Titans could sign them to a deal in which is backloaded to next year. And so then
sign them to like $2 million this year.
And think about what the prorated portion of $2 million for this year is. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
So there is, in theory, there's a way that they could be doing something with that money, but I tend to agree with you. It's probably not about anything for this year. Here's my thought on this. I don't care. The salary cap is fake. And this is a perfect example of how it's fake.
Well, I think it's less about the salary cap money that was freed up this year, and I think it's more so about the Robert Woods contract.
What's $2.2 million in dead cap money?
Nothing.
And so, again, the money is real. If next year, if they have to front load, if they have to restructure a bunch of contracts in order to create cap space for next season to go out and get free agents, and then they give those guys big signing bonuses, the free agents that they sign, and then, those cap numbers balloon over the later part. I mean, that those checks are real now. Like, if somebody getting a signing bonus, that is real money.
It is coming out of
Amy's
wallet.
The owner has to pay for that. But as far as will Robert Woods be on the team next year, or the Titans are up against the cap for next year, and I don't care about that stuff anymore. They can always make it however they want.
The cap is,
fake.
And this is proof that it is. That all they have to do is restructure a deal, and boom, poof.
To the Batmobile!
$2 million.
And there it is. And there's the deal.
Have you been watching Batman recently?
No, I just, yesterday, I just thought about it when I was talking to somebody about Todd Downing, so it just came up. Regardless, I would say that, because people are like, oh, they're going to be up against the cap next year, and they're going to cut Lewan. They're going to cut Dupree. That's going to, offer up a huge chunk of money. They'll have contracts they can redo. They'll have other guys to cut. I do think they could still cut Robert Woods. I mean, I think Robert Woods needs to earn his keep a little bit for next season because he's dropping the ball too much. Dropped the ball on Sunday. on a big second down.
It's
So,
almost like death taxes. Robert Woods has to drop at least a single pass in every single game.
he's dropping it too much. 615-737-1025. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. What do we have, Caroline?
Our friend Indy Ben Texan says Sunday's game showed how important Autry is to the Titans. Without him, you don't have nearly as potent of a pass rush outside of Simmons just caving in the interior offensive line on occasion. Dupree is and has been a product of what is around him dating back to Pittsburgh and has trouble generating sacks on his own. On offense, the blueprint has been out of Tennessee for some time. As for the most part, Tannehill can't carry the offense on his shoulders.
I don't think Tannehill was not the problem. Let's address the Autry thing here first. If I have to hear about, the problem was they didn't have the Nico Autry and Ben Jones. It's like, well, they didn't have Joe Mixon or Jamar Chase. And if you get to the playoffs, and let's say we know the Titans are going to the playoffs, and let's say it is, I don't know, the Bengals in the playoffs. A, those guys are going to be back. And B, more importantly, not only are those guys going to be back, but there's going to be other guys that are out. So, right now, this is out. Well, Traylon Burks gets hurt, or Derrick Henry gets hurt, or Kevin Byard gets hurt, or whatever, and you have to overcome it. Jayon Brown had his shoulder pop out. When the Titans were going for the playoffs in 2019, they ended up in the AFC Championship game because they put David Long Jr. in there, and David Long Jr. played well. So, as far as I'm concerned, the whole Danico Autry wasn't there, and I love Danico Autry. I am the president of the Danico Autry fan club, and I like Ben Jones fine. But the idea of those two guys, it's too much to overcome, well, then I hope not one person gets hurt in the playoffs if you want to try to win the Super Bowl, because football, there are going to be guys that are hurt. You just have to hope that it's not like your quarterback. If you're Kansas City, you hope it's not Travis Kelce. But I do not want to hear the loser talk about Autry and Ben Jones not being in there when the other team didn't have Joe Mixon and Jamar Chase. Jamar Chase. And no one's saying, Cincinnati, they can't throw the ball without Jamar Chase. Did you see that throw? We don't talk about this enough. That throw, it was a beautiful throw by Burrow. The catch that Vrabel challenged by that Irwin that I've never heard of in my life.
Yes.
What a freaking catch. What a
throw.
freaking catch. And that's a throw for Jamar Chase. That is Joe Burrow telling that guy that I've never heard of. I think his name's Tyler Irvin. Hold on, let's see. I got it right in front of me. It is Irwin. Tyler Irwin. That is Joe Burrow saying, I am going to throw you Jamar Chase's ball. And he did, and he caught it. And Vrabel challenged it. What's next?
Josh Texan says the Titans' record tells you all that you need to know. This roster, even with Vrabel's coaching, can beat the bad teams, but can't compete with the good ones. The only team they've beaten with a winning record is Washington.
That is concerning. And Washington had Carson Wentz when that happened. I talked about this, the strength of victory stat. Everybody in the AFC. Strength of victory is a tie-breaking stat that, honestly, I think we should use for college football more than we use strength of schedule. College football, it's like, they've got the 19th strength of schedule, and they've got the 14th strength of schedule, and, Vandy always has the number one strength of schedule because they play everybody in the SEC except
Alabama
for Vandy.
and Georgia.
Yeah, they play everybody except for themselves. So everybody else in the SEC plays them, and they don't get to play themselves, so their strength of schedule is always the highest. Well, strength of victory is, hey, I know you play the Chiefs, but it doesn't count because you lost. And I kind of like that. It's more about who you beat. And so strength of victory for the Titans is by far the worst of any AFC contender at 36%. Most of the AFC is about 45, 46, 47%, which is a hat tip to the fact that the Titans have truly beaten nobody. And the only encouraging thing that I can say about this team as far as contending is concerned is that they almost beat the Chiefs.
With a backup quarterback.
And that becomes more depressing the further away we get from it and the Titans not winning any more games. 615-737-1025. We'll get back to your phones. Plus, my respect for the coaching profession was saved last night. We'll get to that. Stillman and Company, live from Bridgestone Arena, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
White 85! Every team needs a quarterback.
White 85!
That's why we have
Hasselbeck, bootleg, rollout, toss, touchdown!
Tim. ESPN NFL analyst Tim Hasselbeck gives his expertise on all things NFL.
How that team is built, I think there's a lot to like about them.
Every Tuesday at noon, Tim with Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Presented by Red Spirit and Wine in Bellevue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Calm morning, but the afternoon, late afternoon toward the evening hours, scattered showers move in, and a few thunderstorms attached to those. One or two of those could be on the stronger side.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces. Hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models. Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event. So if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition. And our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy, sell, trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
When you love riding a motorcycle, you want to ride it everywhere, even to a physical.
Let's check your weight. Hop on the scale. Look at that. You're down a few pounds.
Oh, yeah. Must be the new carbon fiber wheels.
And when you love saving money, you want to save even more. That's why Geico makes it easy to bundle your motorcycle and car insurance.
I'm going to prescribe 91 octane for your engine knock, and we'll want to see you again in 3,000 miles.
Kickstart your savings with Geico Motorcycle. Bundle and save on the things you love.
In the past, hair loss was inevitable. Now, you have a choice. For thicker, fuller-looking hair, trust the experts with 45 years of experience at Hair Club. Hair Club stylists have helped more than 500,000 clients love their hair again. No matter your age or stage of hair loss, Hair Club can customize a solution for you. Hair Club is proud to offer products and services for every type of hair and budget. Book a free consultation at hairclub.com. That's hairclub.com.
Vanderbilt fans, your flagship home for the broadcast of football and men's basketball is 93.3 Classic Hits. And for the weekly Commodore Hour featuring head coach Jerry Stackhouse, tune in to 94.9 The Fan on Monday nights at 6 p.m.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
Robbie Stanley.
To avoid non-contact injuries and not repeat last year.
Joe Rexroad.
Just wait until next year's national TV schedule comes out.
Robbie and Rexroad. Mornings from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
On first down, Ryan is in trouble and sacked. Brought down by Highsmith. The ball came out, and Big Will Fries is on top of it for Indianapolis. Gonna go back to the spot of the fumble as we're inside 2 minutes, and it was Highsmith who knocked it out.
Well, there's a running clock, too. I mean, the Colts are burning up a lot of time right now with all their timeouts, and yet Ryan is letting it roll.
A loss of 7 on that play, and we are down to 1 minute left. 2nd and 17, and Ryan right up the gut. Dive short of the first down, and they have got to take a timeout here, I would imagine.
but they're not. Wow. And it's third down. Under 40 to go. They hand off. They don't get it. Play made by Highsmith. It's fourth down. And finally, a timeout taken by Indianapolis. You don't know how much comes into play with. I know Jeff Saturday's got to have some people upstairs helping him. A conscious decision that they're going to let the clock run, feel that they have Pittsburgh on their heels.
I mean, Troy Aikman's like, I know Jeff Saturday's got some people up in the booth helping him out, but I don't know why he's calling timeout. Let me say this. The Steelers won last night in what was kind of an entertaining game, kind of a depressing game. It was like a little bit of both.
It was depressing because we had to, again, watch two crap teams play each other
I don't have a
on
problem with
national
that.
TV.
Don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, you do.
I
You're
don't.
the one who always whines about watching the Lions on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, but that's different. The Lions, are a depressing franchise. These are entertaining franchises. But let me tell you this. I said at the very end of yesterday's show that my entire respect for the coaching profession was riding on last night's Colts-Steelers game. Because everybody always tells me that Mike Tomlin is a great coach. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. Mike Tomlin's won a Super Bowl. Mike Tomlin's this. Mike Tomlin's that.
Especially on Monday night.
Well, if they can pull old buddy off of TV and he can go 2-1 as a head coach in the NFL, I mean, it's one thing to beat the Raiders. They stink, and that coach is, terrible, and it's awful and whatever. But if they can pull old buddy off TV and he can beat the Raiders, lose by a point to the best team in the league, and then beat the Steelers and this great coach, then I was done with taking the coaching profession as a serious expertise ever again. Because then from that point on, I was just going to say, well, anybody can do that. Because, people get on me about talking about Jeff Saturday, and they say, well, you say Jeff Saturday has no experience. But Jeff Saturday has all the experience that he got when he played. And I'm like,
so different.
That would be like saying, well, he never went to medical school. He's never been in residency. He never was a fellow, but he has had a bunch of heart attacks, so he's basically a cardiologist. Like, that's what that's saying.
Maybe not exactly the same.
And if Jeff Saturday was winning against Mike Tomlin when both teams were kind of even, if Jeff Saturday won that game yesterday, then I told somebody yesterday, I said, because Coach Shoop's coming here at 3 o'clock, I said, who's going to get the brunt of that? Coach Shoop, because I will never take another coach seriously.
He doesn't deserve that.
And it was all binary.
Don't you do that to him.
I was never going to take another coach seriously ever again. Because these football coaches, they're like, I'm coaching. Nobody understands. We spend 19 hours a day getting ready for practice and scheming and watching the practice tape and breaking it down. And nobody in the world could do these jobs except for us. And we're making $9 million a season to do these jobs. And I'd be like, man, you guys, I'd go pay my coach $100,000 because I could just go get him off TV and put him on the sidelines. But guess what? The Steelers won.
Steelers did win.
And that restored my faith in coaching. And not only that, the Steelers won, not because of, but I'd say in large part, because Jeff Saturday proved at the end of the game last night that he doesn't know how to coach. Because you could hear Aikman and Buck on the call, is he going to call timeout? What's he going to do? So, my faith in the coaching profession was restored last night. And I hadn't lost it, but I said that, it was riding single-handedly on that game.
But ever since Brandon Staley entered the league, I think your faith in the coaching profession has been wavering. No.
I think there are dumb coaches out there, just like I think there are dumb coaches in the SEC, and I think there are smart coaches.
Coaching.
But I think there's dumb people in everything. I think there's dumb people in every line of work. And I think there are dumb people that work on your car. I think there are dumb people that are your doctors. I think there are dumb people that are your radio hosts. I think there are dumb people that are your coaches. I think there's dumb people in everything. And I think that the smart people usually outperform the dumb people. But if Jeff Saturday, with no experience, is outperforming Mike Tomlin,
that's a problem.
Now we got, now it just doesn't, now it doesn't matter. Then I was going to turn into what Clay Travis has done, with Dr. Fauci, right? Where it's like every day he's like, that guy, he doesn't know anything about anything. And it's like, you may disagree with him on some stuff, but he's been a doctor doing this for 50 years. So he's got a little experience. That's how I was going to view coaching, which is, hey, you might have been coaching for 50 years. Doesn't matter to me because Jeff Saturday comes off the street. But They lost. So, with that, my faith in the coaching profession is restored. What do we have in the text line? 615-737-1025.
One texter texts in and says Tannehill needs to learn how to call audibles when we're about to run Henry into 9 guys in the box.
Tannehill, all I know is this. According to the crowd mic from CBS, there was a play that they ran with Derrick Henry on the left side where Tannehill yelled out and said, nickel, 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 nickel. And I don't know exactly what that meant, but I assume that it has to do with the idea that the nickel was going to blitz, if I had to make an assumption. And nobody picked up the nickel, and he tackled Derrick Henry in the backfield. Not to say that that was the only check Tannehill made or that makes everything that Tannehill did on Sunday effective. But Tannehill did yell and scream about the nickel, and nobody did anything about it, unless I guess he's going to go block the nickel. I can't put that on him. I thought Tannehill, again, Bob watched tape. Bob, this will be the most objective we can get. I thought Tannehill played a good game Sunday. And I think people need to remember that. Even me. We know how hard I've been on Tannehill. I thought Tannehill played a good game Sunday.
Tannehill played a fine game, but he can't win a game himself. When Derrick Henry's averaging, 1.7 yards per carry?
Here's what's crazy.
He cannot win a game with the ball in his hands.
If the Titans don't hit the snapper, and if the Titans make their field goals, and if the Titans can get off the, this is going to sound crazy. There's a chance that Tannehill could have beaten Joe Burrow, and the Titans just held it back.
But if
Tom Brady can't do anything if the guy hits the snapper.
If the Titans, I know, I hear you, but if the Titans don't hit the snapper and they make that field goal, they're still down a point.
They're still down by 4 points because they would have kicked the field goal.
Because they would have kicked that field goal, so it would have been 23-19.
So the ball's in Tannehill's hands. And now the question has to be, can Tannehill drive them down the field and score? Now, let me tell you this. Not to say, one way or another way, but no matter what, they would have done one way or another, right? Like, if they had gotten the ball back and scored a touchdown, which I don't think would have happened.
I don't think that would have happened, but also,
I would have gone
knows?
for 2. I would have gone for 2. And I hate that.
Why?
Because I'm not giving Joe Burrow the ball back.
But, realistically, so they would have gotten the ball back with 1:57 left on the clock.
And they would have had to score a touchdown.
Uh-huh.
And then...
So how much time do you think realistically would have been on the clock? 20 seconds, 30 seconds?
Right, which is why I'm going for 2. I'm down by 7.
Uh-huh.
I score a touchdown.
Yes.
That's 6. I go for 2 with 20 seconds. Joe Burrow gets the ball back, has to throw a Hail Mary to beat me. If I kick the extra point, Joe Burrow gets the ball back in overtime.
But they wouldn't have been down by 7 because they would have hit that field goal. So it would have been 24-19.
The Titans would have been down 7.
How?
Oh, you're right. 4. But I'm just talking about, forget about that. I'm talking about they
23-19.
didn't hit the snapper. So the Titans get the ball back down 7, score, I would have gone for 2.
Okay.
Because I don't want Joe Burrow with the ball. Bob Shute broke the tape down. The All-22. Why did the Titans lose? Did the Bengals have better players? Is Joe Burrow just that much better? Did the Titans coaches screw it up? Did the Titans players screw it up? We are looking for who to blame. And so Bob will break all that down for us coming up next. Stillman and Company, we are live from Bridgestone Arena again. The Preds tonight, 7 o'clock against the Anaheim Ducks, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You love the game.
The doors on the board. Touchdown at TSU.
We live the game.
Going up against that defense, he can make some plays and take that next step.
We are.
Score by Master Shea.
A gunny performance. Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game. Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be, but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments extra, results vary.
312 Pizza Company is a family-owned restaurant located in the heart of Germantown, serving up authentic Chicago-style eats right here in Nashville. 312 Pizza Company only uses the best all-natural ingredients and makes everything in-house from scratch every single day. And trust me, you can taste the difference. They've got deep dish pizza, thin crust pizza, their Italian beef. You'll taste the freshness. Stop in for a pint of local beer and a slice of pizza, or order online at 312pizzaco.com. 312 Pizza Company, Nashville's authentic Chicago pizzeria.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com.
Attention Preds fans, this is Jeremy, General Manager at Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars at 508 Church Street in downtown Smashville. Come check out the most awarded cigar and bourbon lounge in the country and watch our Golden Blue Preds make another Stanley Cup playoff run. Take a picture with me, post to our Blend Facebook and Instagram, and be entered to win a special Davidoff package. Experience luxury at its finest with the best spirits and cigars in the industry. Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars, time beautifully filled.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Tonight, your Nashville Predators return to action at Bridgestone Arena against the Anaheim Ducks. Coverage begins at 6 on your home for Smashville. WPRT-FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury. He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry live at Bridgestone Arena. Predators tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us once again for a trip inside of Jared's film room with a full breakdown of the Titans is the former defensive coordinator at Vanderbilt University, at the University of Tennessee, the University of South Florida, Penn State University, Mississippi State University, and the former head coach at Columbia University, Coach Bob Shue.
I was sure after last week they wouldn't allow this to happen again.
All right.
The applause never ends.
So Coach has watched the all-22 film, the coach's tape, the breakdowns, and with that, it is time to enter Jared's film room.
You are now entering Jared's film room.
We really should change the name of it since most of the time you're the one that was doing the film watching. So, Bob, here's the question. The number one question. Why did the Titans lose to the Bengals?
And I'll say the correction that I said to you off the air a minute ago. I thought it was a great game, 2 evenly matched teams, and it was a defensive coordinator's dream. And the Bengals were better up front than the Titans. It was as simple as that. I mean, DJ Reader, B.J. Hill, Zach Carter, Hendrickson, Hubbard, they were dominant the entire game. They did a great job. The front seven was awesome. They made some adjustments that the Packers didn't make during the game last week. They covered the center and 2 guards. They got penetration. They kept the linebackers clean. And last week, what were arm tackles where, Henry was busting through for 5, 6, 7 yards. He didn't have anywhere to go yesterday.
So then can I counter with this? Because I just noticed it from the naked eye. DJ Reader is a 350-pound nose tackle.
Monster.
I mean, that is a big old boy. And Aaron Brewer is, he says he's 290. But, I mean, he's probably, 275, 280?
He was dominated.
Okay. Well, I mean, isn't it just common sense that a 350-pound guy is going to, dominate a 270-pound guy? Like, just, the way that you guys look at it, when you got a big old fatty like that in DJ Reader who can barely even fit in a doorway, and you got a little baby out there on the offensive line that, like, hey, this might not go well. So then can I not say, what did the Titan coaches do in order to adjust to Cincinnati? And I think Cincinnati's defensive line as a whole is pretty good. But what did they do to adjust when clearly the big boys for Cincinnati were pushing back the less big boys for the Titans?
There were a couple little runs they did. They did a split back personnel grouping where they had Hilliard in the game and ran a little bit of an option play to him out on the perimeter, which gained 7-8 yards. And really one of their best runs in the game was a gap scheme play where they blocked down and they pulled a guard around. It was after the long pass to Burks.
What's that mean in English for
it's
us Jeff Saturdays of the world that don't have any coaching experience?
What the Titans primarily do, I said last week, was they get into condensed formations where they bring everybody in and create more gaps. So they make people who aren't ordinarily a part of the run fit, a safety, a corner, have to make tackles. And that's what they did again. And that was successful against Green Bay. And it had some modest success against Cincinnati. But Cincinnati's front seven was, as I said, really played very, very well. But after the long pass to Burks and the roughing the quarterback call where they had first and goal, first and 10 down on the 12, 14-yard line, they did run a gap scheme play where everybody blocks down the player they were inside and a guard pulls around for a play side linebacker. They ran that and got 8 yards. So suddenly it's 2nd and 2. Then they throw a pass. Then they throw a crossing route where he throws kind of a fastball and it's tipped up in the air and almost intercepted. So they didn't score a touchdown on that drive, and they ended up kicking a field goal. And that was the difference in the game. I didn't think that the Titans executed as well in the red zone than they did against the Green Bay Packers. And what ended up being touchdowns against the Packers ended up being field goals against the Bengals.
Was that coaching, or was that just mistakes by the Titans? Because I'll tell you, the one that drove me crazy was they ran it on 2nd down. That same series, they hit the ball to Burks. Then they get the roughing the passer. They run the ball, pick up some yards.
2nd and 2.
Then they bring in the jumbo package.
That's right.
In comes, I actually think it was 2nd and 5, but whatever, semantics, or 2nd and 6, I don't know. They bring in the jumbo package. In comes 86, a running, basically a fullback. 87, Jeff Swaim, a tight end. Hollister, number 8. It's like, I mean, I hate to say this, but if you're sitting there in the box and you're coaching and you see all those guys out there, isn't there a part of you that's, thank God Traylon Burks is not in the game. Thank God Chig Okonkwo's not in the game. Thank God Robert Woods isn't in the game. Thank God, because now we know what they're going to do. We know they're not going to throw the ball.
You're right. The bigger the people, the more people you bring into the box, the more people the defense can bring into the box. And when it's 3 tight ends and a fullback, or 2 tight ends and a fullback, or what have you, right there, then you could bring bigger people into the box. And Cincinnati was just better at that. But that's the play you're exactly talking about. 2nd and 2. They brought the big people into the game. And last week we talked about Carter, number 40, the fullback. I know, but he didn't play this week. I don't even know if he was active. But they had 86 as the lead blocker in that situation, and they got knocked backwards. So suddenly what was 2nd and 2 became 3rd and 5, and all of a sudden they had to throw the ball. And the Bengals did a really good job, I thought, on the crossing routes during the course of the game, things that Tannehill had success with last week. I thought they did a good job on 3rd down, taking those things away at the sticks, making them look to a second throw and having to throw the ball with some height down the field. And when he did that, he wasn't as accurate as he was last week. However, I think Tannehill played very, very well.
What happened to the Titans defense, Bob? How'd they get so beat up front? Running the ball, no pressure on Burrow. How?
They did only have 1 sack, and that's the 2nd week in a row they didn't have any takeaways. That's alarming to me. But to say they got beat up front, I think is a little bit deceptive. I think P. Ryan had a nice game, but the 108 yards rushing, 32 of them are to Joe Burrow on scrambles and things like that. So if you came out of the game with P. Ryan having 17 carries for 58 yards, averaging 3.4 yards a rush, come on, I'm not going to put this one on the front seven of the Titans.
So Vrabel was asked about those Joe Burrow runs, because the one thing that I got mad about on defensive coaching was, at what point were they going to adjust to the fact that Joe Burrow was clearly going to kill them, running the ball? And I know that, it won't be like this week with Jalen Hurts running the ball, but I do know that, after 4 times of him running the ball, at some point make an adjustment. Did you think they made an adjustment? And also, Vrabel said yesterday that he was mad at the rush lanes.
I
don't know what the hell that means.
I was just about to say it was rush lane integrity. No
what
question.
So what does that mean? So basically the defensive linemen were not where they were supposed to
There's
be.
5 players to protect, the center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles primarily, and maybe a running back. And there's 4 guys rushing the quarterback. The Titans are a 4-man rush team and play good coverage. And a lot of times they play man-to-man. So the players at the second and third level have their backs turned to the line of scrimmage. They're covering a player, not an area, so they don't have their eyes on Joe Burrow. And what happens is you have 2 interior rushers who are responsible for attacking the front hip of the quarterback, not letting him step up. And then you have 2 contained rushers who attack the deep shoulder of the quarterback and don't let him get outside. There was a critical in the third quarter when they scored the touchdown in the third quarter on the pass. I guess it was the fourth quarter when they scored the touchdown to T. Higgins.
Mm-hmm.
There was a 3rd and 12 where the
ball to the back out of the backfield.
Titans were running a little twist game on the left side right there, and they didn't have the rush lane integrity. And in a twist game, what happens is people exchange pass rush lanes. So the end was coming inside to become the hook curl pass rusher. The tackle was twisting outside to become the curl flat pass rusher and be the contained player. They didn't get it done. Joe Burrow scrambled to his right, which is his throwing hand side. He does a great job keeping his eyes down the field. 32, Trayvon Williams gets lost in the shuffle a little bit right there, gets 15, 20 yards down the field all by himself. And suddenly they're down there and they score a touchdown on the next play.
So is that a coaching thing or is that a player's thing?
It's an execution thing. The twist in and of itself is a sound twist. It wasn't executed well. And the Bengals offensive line did a pretty good job handling that, to be honest.
Okay. The throwing from Joe Burrow. I mean, I want to get mad at the Titans secondary. Hey, go up there and make a play or hey. But I honestly, and I didn't think it was offensive pass interference with Higgins on the touchdown.
No. They're not going to call that.
Although the ref grabbed the ref was grabbing for the flag and he didn't throw it. That is one where I'm like, look, man, that's Joe Burrow and that's T. Higgins. And that kid that I've never heard of, Irwin, that made that catch on the sidelines.
Great catch.
I mean, at some point there is, hey, the other team's got some good players. I don't put, the way that Joe Burrow made big passes down the stretch, I don't put that on the Titans or the Titans coaching. I put that on the fact that Burrow is awesome, Higgins is really good, and then the other guys just kind of stepped up. And I think Joe Burrow has this little thing in him where he gets the other guys to step up around him, like Hayden Hurst, who's been in the NFL for 4 or 5 years, hadn't done a thing, and all of a sudden he looks like he's pretty good.
I mean, Hurst is a great player. I mean, he was a great player in college. I coached against him when he was at South Carolina. He's a unique athlete, played professional baseball for a period of time. But Joe Burrow's the real deal, and we were talking about it off the air. He's got some of the same characteristics as John Elway, as you said, and he's got the coolness of a Joe Montana. I mean, it's no surprise that in his second year the Bengals found their way to get to the Super Bowl. And to me, they might be a team that the second half of the year with the length of the season really, really, really continues to improve, gets better, and can win that AFC North. And I wouldn't at all be surprised if they're the AFC representative again in the postseason.
Bob Shoop's with us, Coach Bob Shoop. I hate the Titans special teams coach. I think he's terrible. I think he's been terrible for years and years and years. Special teams, your thoughts?
I don't think special teams won or lost the game. I would have called it.
How could you say they didn't lose it? They missed a 35-yard kick and they hit the snapper.
That's not on the well.
And
all right.
They didn't even punt well.
When you watch the coverage units, I thought it was a 50-50 battle. As a matter of fact, I thought the Bengals had numerous penalties on special teams. I thought where the Titans lost the game, where it involved the special teams, was at the first 18 to 20 minutes of the game, the first quarter and first 5 minutes of the second half.
Can I ask you where I think you're going with this? Field position.
Unbelievable field position. And to come out of that with only a 3-3 score was unbelievable. I mean, they kept pinning him back deep. And didn't take advantage of it. And when it's only 3-3 at that particular point in the game, you're going, all right, they're letting the Bengals hang in there. And then they completed the screen and scored the touchdown. And again, the Bengals started their drive from their own 8-yard line, and they complete the angle route to P. Ryan, and they miss a tackle, and then it goes from there.
That was about Amani Hooker missing a tackle.
That's
more
correct.
than it was about P. Ryan making that play.
Well, then going back, it's the same thing. I wouldn't blame the special teams coach for the first-time field goal kicker missing one kick. I mean, he was 3 for 4, had 9 points on the day. Every player in America,
35 yards, Bob.
Every kid at Father Ryan High School knows you can't hit the center on the on the field goal. That was a major error.
That was
but
bad.
What that prevented was an opportunity to go win the game. It didn't keep them from winning the game. It prevented them from having an opportunity to win the game.
Coach Bob Shoop is with us. On the other side, Derrick Henry. What is wrong with Derrick Henry? What is wrong with the running game? Don't tell the people that now, Bob. What is wrong with Derrick Henry? What Bob saw on the tape. We'll get to that next. Coach Bob Shoop with us. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at 2:45.
Sanders for the touchdown, 48 yards.
Former NFL wide receiver Chris Sanders joins Stillman and Company to give his thoughts on all things Titans and NFL. Fueled by Parman Energy, now hiring fuel drivers. Apply now at ParmanEnergy.com on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces. Hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models. Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event. So if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition, and our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy-sell trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
They say a good craftsman never blames their tools, and the best always choose the right one for the job. For the builders and makers of this world, nothing beats knowing you've got what you need to get the project done. Northern Tool is a problem solver's paradise. And with savings of up to 50% off and great new deals dropping every week, we've got the perfect gift for all the solvers on your list. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Maybe use more run blitzes yesterday than some teams have against you, or did you guys just not?
No, they brought the nickel just like they have, throughout the year. They brought the safety. No, I wouldn't say that there was more run blitzes. That's how they played us, and felt like we were prepared. We just have to, be able to block them and move and get some movement. We started the game off with felt like a good run, had everybody blocked and gained 9 yards, but then just really never took advantage of the line of scrimmage. Never were able to string anything together. Just too many inefficient runs for us.
Derek's, I think, averaged 2.8 the last 3 weeks. Is that just come down to not winning enough one-on-one battles?
Well, he's part of that. It's everybody. It's when we have success in the run game, it's everybody, and when we're inefficient, it's everybody as well. And our combination blocks have to be good, whether it's in a zone scheme or a gap scheme, and we got to get him going.
There you go. That was Vrabel talking about the running game. Coach Bob Shoop is with us. You watched the tape. Why in the last 2 weeks, but specifically this week, why could Derrick Henry not run the ball? Is it Derek's fault? Is it the coach's fault? Is it the line's fault? Is it the Bengals doing a good job? Why could Derrick Henry not run the ball?
The Bengals did an outstanding job. I thought their front seven was really good. I said it again. I thought Reeder. I thought Hill. I thought Carter, the kid from Florida. I thought Hendrickson. I thought Hubbard. They were dominant up front. And Coach was talking about combination blocks. They weren't able to get up to the second level, and linebackers were clean at the point of attack. Where last week against Green Bay, they were making arm tackles, and Derrick was falling forward for a handful of yards. This week, they were clean in the hole. A DB was clean in the hole, whether it was Eli Apple, Von Bell. They did a great job squaring them up and made good tackles in the hole. And there weren't a lot of missed tackles by the Bengals, which was impressive. And then in some of their 11 personnel runs, 11 personnel being when there's one back, one tight end, 11, and then 3 wide receivers, that's when they were bringing Mike Hilton off the edge. Mm-hmm. And I've watched Mike Hilton play for a long, long time. I think he is two things he does. He's an excellent nickel blitzer coming off the edge right there, creating a too-high shell, which creates a favorable box, for a run. So, Tannehill doesn't necessarily see that it's a loaded box to stop the run. He looks out there and says, this is a favorable run situation for us. And Hilton times it up really, really well, comes off the edge. And all tackles for loss are low tackles. He does a great job, wrap, snatch, and roll the tackle the back in the backfield, and did a great job. I think he had three tackles for loss in the game on things like that.
How could they have coached it better to get Derrick Henry going?
Well, they did two things that I thought were really good. They again
obviously wasn't good enough, Bob.
Well, they did the play action and they threw the screen. I mean, and I said last week when we talked about it, I said what happens when you play action a lot of times, you get the linebackers flying up to secure their gaps, and then when they see play action, they literally turn their back from the line to the line of scrimmage and try to get back in coverage. And the two things that you do is you throw deep balls off that because it creates separation between your deep coverage and your underneath coverage, or you throw screen passes because everybody's back's turned to the ball and they're panicking. And they did both those. He hit Burks on the long pass, which created the field goal at the end, and he hit the screen pass for the 72-yard touchdown, which is also a great play by Burks, hustling down and recovering the ball in the end zone. So the use of the play action. And then last week against Green Bay, they got into more 3 wide receiver sets to run the ball and utilize some RPOs. So if you spread the team out, you can see Mike Hilton coming off the edge a little bit better. You can see he's got to cheat to get where he needs to get.
So Tannehill and shotgun basically is what you're saying.
Tannehill and shotgun running essentially the same blocking scheme and same plays. Maybe out of pistol. They used pistol a lot last week against Green Bay. Or have Henry in the sidecar right there. That's fine. But at the same time, using those and using RPOs.
So why didn't they do that against Cincinnati?
I don't know. I mean, I think those would have been good answers. Because you would have.
So you think they should have done that?
I think they could have used that. You asked how they could have been more effective in the run game. I think by spreading them out, putting them in situations where they would have shown their hand a little bit better. And in addition to spreading them out, I think it put them in different personnel groupings. When they had that personnel grouping with, like I said, Hendrickson, Hubbard, and those big dudes inside, when you were in 12, 13 personnel and condensing your sets, the Bengals did a really good job and could put big people in there. And to stop the run on a consistent basis, you need to create flat walls at the line of scrimmage. There can't be jagged walls. There can't be linebackers off the line, D linemen in the backfield. That creates seams and vertical seams, which Derrick Henry's going to get through, and he's going to make a lot of yards. They created flat walls. They got penetration, and they did a really, really good job defending the run.
So I have a theory about this. Coach Bob Shoop is with us, breaking down the Titans tape. My theory is that the Titans have an entirely backup offensive line out there except for their right guard. Mm-hmm. Everything else, it's a backup left tackle, it's a backup left guard. It's the center is the starting left guard, who I think is honestly kind of a backup. And then the right tackle, I mean, you coached against him, but the right tackle out of Ohio State, he's a rookie, and this is my gut. If you're a good tackle, you go with like the 13th overall pick. You don't go in the 3rd round. Mm-hmm. So they've got him out there at right tackle. I was shocked because the Packers have some big old fatties on that defensive line too. I was shocked that the Titans were able to protect the passer as well as they did against Green Bay, and that they were kind of able to run the ball as well as they did against Green Bay. I have a lot of respect for the Bengals defensive line, and I just felt like what bothered a lot of people with the coaching, and maybe not me necessarily on this, but when I watched Michigan play Ohio State, Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator at Ohio State, and he's a run-the-ball guy because he's an offensive lineman, and he figured out real quickly, we're not going to be able to just to dime the ball up in there every single play. So we're going to have to throw it. And boy, did they throw it against Ohio State. I'm watching the Titans. Tannehill's throwing the ball effectively in the game, And yet, it felt like the Titans are like, even if we only get 1 yard on first down, we still have to run Derek. We still have to run Derek. If we don't complete a pass on first down, we got to run Derek on second down. And I just wonder if the mindset of the coaching staff should have switched more to, okay, now the ball needs to be in Tannehill's hands more than the ball needs to be in Henry's hands.
I think you're right. I think looking back to the Green Bay game, I thought there was a little bit more of a mix on first and second down, mixing up both runs and play action passes. I mean, the Bengals on the first 5 or 6 snaps of the game came out just slinging the football. I mean, they said, we're not going to even, try to, run the football. They came out throwing it and tried to loosen you up right away. I think there maybe needs to be a little bit of change of mindset right there. But again, this is a run-first team, and Derrick Henry is the 5-star best player on the offense, without question. And they're going to try to establish the run, and they did that. Now, good coaches to me, what you do, I think the first quarter is always about acknowledging tendencies. Are the tendencies still the same? Are they doing the same things? Are they doing what we expected them to do? And if they are, you resume the game plan. You continue doing what you're doing. And if a team's not doing what you expected, maybe they're loading the box a little bit more. Maybe they're blitzing off the edge a little bit more. That's when in-game adjustments become a big part of what you're trying to do. If a team's not doing what you saw on the film over the first 3 weeks, or the breakdown of the film right there. So,
do you think the Titans adjusted during the game? Do you think there was a change from the first half to the second half?
I didn't. No, there wasn't a lot. There wasn't significant. And I thought the Titans were fine. I mean, that's 2 weeks in a row they didn't get 100 yards rushing. I mean, so they as we're saying, I mean, the only difference between that and the Packer game is they won. I mean,
well, Derrick Henry had 80 whatever, 90 whatever against the Packers. He had 38
on 17 carries or whatever it was, right?
Yeah,
so, I mean,
2.2 a crack.
That's not good. And I think, like I said before, I thought it was very creative when they had Hilliard and Henry in the game together. I hadn't seen that. And I thought that was something that was kind of unique, and they faked the inside zone to Henry and pitched it out to Hilliard. And he made
what
7 or
about
8
that
yards.
one stupid play call at the end of the game that ended up forcing them into the 3rd and 15 that they threw to Westbrook-Akina and then decided to kick the field goal? Where
I don't know what that play was. That looked like a miss. That looked like a missed assignment. It had both running backs in the same area of the field. He threw the ball sideways, and they lost 5 or 6 yards. That's what I said the other day.
And Burks was standing on this was my interpretation of it. Burks was standing on the other side of the field like he was anticipating a bubble screen. So what the hell was that?
That was an error. I'm not sure if it was a play call error. I'm not sure if it was an execution error. But you had 2 people in the same area. He threw the ball laterally. The play, was a total disaster. And like we talked about last week, where I thought the Titans executed exceptionally well last week in the red zone, I thought that was their fatal flaw this week on offense. They didn't, the only touchdown they had was a 72-yard screen pass. And when they got in the red zone all the other times, they were forced to kick field goals.
One last thought on the offense for you. I do not feel like the good players on the Titans play enough on offense. I feel like they are bringing in, and we'll get to Swaim, we'll get to him in a second. But I feel like they bring him in and Hollister in and 86 Raider in there. And I feel like the Titans need to have, Robert Woods in the game or Traylon Burks in the game or, more than, and I've got it in front of me how much these guys played. Woods played 81% of the snaps. Burks played 67% of the snaps. Traylon Burks, I went back to an Arthur Smith game from A.J. Brown's rookie year. A.J. Brown played 94% of the snaps. This drives me freaking crazy, especially when I'm at the game and I see that it's like 3rd and 8. The Titans complete a pass to Hooper, and then all of a sudden, all those guys run off, and all new guys run in there. I'm like, play the good players.
I mean,
what do you think of that?
You've invested a lot into Burks. I mean, you've traded arguably the most explosive player on your team to the Eagles, and then you drafted him. I mean, I think he's played well the last 2 weeks, no question. I mean, he played well against Green Bay, and he had the long pass this week against the Bengals, but he needs to be more a part of what they're trying to do. And that's what I was saying before. I think that'll alleviate some of the loading of the box, the crowding of the box, and things like that. That's what college football's become. Teams spreading you out all over the field in an attempt to run the football. You have a weapon like Derrick Henry. Now they're bringing these big, giant human beings, outside linebackers, defensive linemen, linebackers into the box because you have tight ends and you're trying to create broad fronts and trying to bring people into the box and create extra gaps. Maybe think the opposite way right there. Spread them out a little bit. Put yourself in position where you got to cover, Westbrook-Akina. You got to cover Burks. You got to cover Woods. Spread the tight end out a little bit and run the football. Do things along those lines. That's the RPO game of college football.
You know what's a crazy, and this may be a total coincidence here. Bob Shoop's with us. I'm shocked by this. Austin Hooper played 38 offensive snaps. Traylon Burks played 38 offensive snaps, 67% of the snaps. What do you think they did on those 38 snaps? They probably threw the ball, right?
Right.
Okay. Jeff Swain played 31 snaps. Derrick Henry played 32. What do you think they did on the – you see what I'm saying? It's obvious what they're doing.
We talked about
it drives me nuts.
And we talked about that. We've talked about Swain. We've talked about the tight ends off the air.
We will talk about Swain.
It's interesting to me. I think sometimes, and I tried to watch a little more closely after you brought it up to me, I think each of those tight ends has a unique job description. I think.
Hold that thought on Swain. We will get to that. 615-737-1025. Coach Bob Shoop is with us. Tannehill. I think I'm the only person in the world that's on this island with Tannehill about how he performed. And what did it mean? Coach Bob Shoop is with us. Caroline, though, has to tell us about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
Yes, I do. It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook report. Now, first thing is first. Your first bet with Caesars is on Caesars up to $1,250. Just sign up using the promo code RADIOFULL. One word, RADIOFULL. And then place your first bet. And if you win, then congratulations. That money is all yours. But if not, don't worry about it because you'll get that stake back as a free bet. Now, if you're looking to place your first bet on Caesars Sportsbook, look at the same game parlay, or not the same game parlay, just an NBA parlay tonight, plus 800 odds boost on the Caesars Sportsbook app. Pistons, Mavs, and Blazers all win tonight. But if you don't like that parlay, just make your own. Just do it with the Caesars Sportsbook app. Open to new users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Most used within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes!
Tune in to Robbie and Rex Road every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost. Matt Bouchane.
Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
Houston Clinic Orthopedics wants to thank their patients for voting them the #1 orthopedic practice in the Nashville Scene Poll for 3 years in a row. Their physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all physicians, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make Christmas happen.
Harman Energy is now hiring drivers for their Nashville team. Harman Energy is Tennessee's petroleum solution for major industry. Right now, they're offering competitive compensation. Fuel tank wagon drivers start at $26 an hour. Fuel transport drivers, $29 an hour. Plus, there's a $4,000 sign-on bonus for CDL drivers. Top quality benefits and a great place to work, Harman Energy employees provide totally outrageous customer service. Come be an employee owner with the Harman team. Apply now at harmanenergy.com.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game. Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is Greg McElroy, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Got to be cleaner in the red zone. Obviously, it's something we pride ourselves on and put a lot of focus and importance on, throughout the season. And today we didn't execute well enough.
Anything in particular in the red zone? Looked like maybe a couple drops hurt the cause.
Yeah, just overall, we just didn't make enough plays down there. We got down there a few times and had some opportunities, but just didn't make enough plays.
There you go. That was Tannehill after the game on Sunday. Coach Bob Shoop is with us at Bridgestone Arena. Preds tonight against the Anaheim Ducks at 7 o'clock. All right. I thought Ryan Tannehill was fabulous on Sunday against the Bengals, and I said that yesterday, and everybody was like, Tannehill wasn't that good. He missed the throw to Robert Woods out of the backfield. He threw the ball too hot for Okonkwo. Tannehill was fine, but he wasn't great on Sunday. You watched the tape. Bob, how would you describe Ryan Tannehill's performance? What did you think?
I don't think Ryan Tannehill's the reason they lost the game. That's the way I'd put it. But I think quarterbacks in the NFL are measured on wins and losses, and wins and losses are in part because of how they perform on third down and how they perform in the red zone. And the team as a whole, and he was a part of that, weren't very clean in the red zone the other day, I thought. And that was the difference in the game.
You thought he was bad in the red zone?
Again, I thought the team executed poorly. And the one play that stands out to me still is the fastball he threw over the middle to Chiggs that was tipped up in the air and almost intercepted and led to a field goal instead of a touchdown late in the game. And that's one that has to be completed because that was in the NFL, there aren't a lot of wide open throws, and that was a wide open throw that he put a little too much mustard on that one for sure.
So you put that on the quarterback and not the receiver, even though the receiver had his hands on the ball?
I do. I think that ball was thrown too hard, and that was a very difficult catch.
Okay.
And I think Ryan would say that too.
What do you think of Tannehill's performance the last 2 weeks, and are the Titans putting him in position to be successful? And what I mean by that is not just the coaching, but the pass protection. Because we talked last week about 71, Dennis Daly, the left tackle, and how he struggled. The Bengals, I think, have a great defensive line, and yet I felt like Tannehill had pretty decent time as far as pass protection was concerned. What did you think?
22 for 34, 291. I don't think he felt a lot of pressure. He's a good athlete. He's mobile enough to move around the pocket, and he makes some plays. I mean, he made some third down throws that were key, and we talked about the people he needs to target on third down. A week ago, Woods was spectacular on third down. Burks made big catches down the field. They did a great job with that, and Hooper's a good third down weapon for him as well. I thought he was okay. The Titans overall were 5 for 14 on third down. That's probably not good enough. That's a little over 33%. And again, quarterbacks are measured on success on third down and success in the red zone. I don't come back and say Ryan Tannehill won or lost the game. Maybe there's some things that we don't know because we're not in the meeting room or we're not in the game plan sessions that maybe he could have checked some runs or got him into some better plays at different times. And that's something between he and Coach Downing and the offensive staff right there. But I thought for the most part, Ryan Tannehill was really, really good. And as you said, was a series or a play or two or a series or two away from beating Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals.
Do you think his team let him down?
I don't think his team let him down. I think it was a really good game between two really good teams.
Come on, Bob.
I don't think his team let him down. I mean, it's like I said.
This is not an NFL Films documentary.
The
where
Titans play.
John Facenda. It was a perfect autumn day for football, and two Goliaths facing one another in a rematch of last year's playoffs.
Oh, I texted you immediately after the game, and didn't I say, wasn't that the same score as last year's game? And you said, no, last year was 19-16. This is 26. Yeah, that's what I said. So I mean, to me, I looked at this game. And I thought the Titans play a unique style of football. They play smash-mouth football. They're going to line up and try to run the ball, and they're going to be really good on defense. They're not going to give up explosive plays. They need to create more takeaways. There's no doubt about that. In the last 2 weeks, they haven't created takeaways, and they've only gotten 2 sacks. They got a third sack based on the grounding call. And they haven't run the ball. Like I think Coach Vrabel said in the press conference, they had too many inefficient runs. They got behind the sticks a little bit. They didn't execute on third down. They didn't execute in the red zone as well as they did against the Packers. But again, I thought that was two their style of play is such that it's not very appealing to the eye to start with. But when it's your team, you go, yeah, that's our team. We're tough. We're this, we're that. And when you don't win and someone like the Bengals comes in and beats you at your own style of play, then it becomes, okay, what do we need to do better and where do we need to go from here? And the Bengals really did. They came in and beat the Titans at their own game, I thought.
You were saying?
Will you say that Tannehill's team didn't let him down? Did the coaches let him down?
No.
The play calling let him down?
No. I mean,
how do you judge a play caller? Because everybody in town hates Todd Downing. And, you know, we're going to have to parse every word you say because you're part of the fraternity. And so we're going to have to, like, you know, really, really, like, I'm not going to say think hard about your words here, but everything that you say or don't say, we will analyze here. The fans in town absolutely hate Todd Downing. And I think there is some justification for it. And yet, it's hard to sit there and say, like, that was a bad play call because people will say, the one thing that I don't like is when the fans say, you know, I call the plays out in my living room. And I'm like, we have a 50% chance of being right. Either they're going to run it or pass it. So you're sitting there and you're like, they're going to run here. Well, no crap, they're going to run it 2nd and 2, and they've got the jumbo package in. But I do think, you know, how do I judge the play caller? How do we judge?
I think every football fan in America thinks they can call the plays better than the offensive coordinator. Everybody who watches games, that just seems to be the natural, you know, sit at home or be the fan watching on the TV.
Okay, so now that you got that disclaimer out of the way that we should check with our doctor before starting the exercise program, how do you, as a defensive coordinator, judge an offensive play caller that you're going against?
I think the best offensive play callers I've ever gone against kept me off balance. They got into what I call unorthodox or revealing formations, you know, made me show my hand, made us distinguish whether we're in a loaded box versus a loose box where they could run the football and things along those lines, and used motion, used shifts, used things along those lines to create, you know, matchups or leverages or things along those lines where I couldn't load up. Teams that put me in a situation where I wasn't able to took the play calling in some ways out of my hands as the defensive coordinator and made the players on the field make adjustments and made them think rather than just play and use their abilities.
Do you think the Titans did that at all to the Bengals?
Probably not. There's probably not. Like I said before, I mean, you know, the first quarter of a game is about validating tendencies. And when you saw that, you know, you were going to struggle to run the ball in those condensed sets and those 12 and 13 personnel groupings, maybe at that time was a situation where you could have spread them out a little bit more, used more RPOs, put more speed on the field, and spread the field out a little bit for Derrick Henry in the run game, and also had really good athletes on the field. Now, that's been their MO for several weeks, and they've had success doing it. So why change, maybe? But at the same time, I think they have to take a good look at themselves this week and as they move forward and say, if everybody's going to load up in the box and put their big boys in there and we're going to have mismatches with our centers and guards against really big dudes, maybe we ought to think about doing this a little bit more. Get them into smaller people on the field, more nickel personnel groupings, things along those lines, and spread it out and use our speed on the field at the receiver position and give Derrick some run lanes.
Are you concerned that the Titans haven't gotten any sacks over the last 2 weeks when they're supposed to be a really good defensive line and pressuring the quarterback team?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, I think part of the game, I'll bet you in Coach Vrabel's press conference afterwards or Coach Bowen's press conference afterwards, the words affect the quarterback come out a lot. And I don't think they affected the quarterback a lot in the last 2 weeks. Now, I will say this, both Aaron Rodgers and Joe Burrow are really good at moving their feet, finding lanes, things along those lines, and in order to get the ball, you know, thrown down the field. And I thought Joe Burrow was excellent the other day. Even if he didn't scramble for yards, and he did have 32 yards rushing in addition to his passing yards, you know, he finds a way in a four-man rush, you know, to get a window, to find lanes, to look down the field and find open receivers. He does an outstanding job of that.
Coach Shoup is with us. I asked Coach Shoup to do one specific thing when I knew that he was going to join us to break down the tape. I texted him Sunday, and I said, I need you to watch 87, Jeff Swain. And I need you to explain to me why the Titans love this guy so much. I need you to tell me why this guy, who I think freaking stinks, and the rest of the league thinks he freaking stinks. I need to know why the Titans are paying this man $3.5 million and why the Titans are playing him. How many snaps was it? I think it was 31 snaps.
30-something a game.
31 snaps. Why they played him 31 snaps on Sunday. Coach Shoup has that. Plus, the Eagles on Sunday. Coach Shoop's with us, Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Every Wednesday at noon.
No matter the down and distance and no matter the score, they're going to give him the football.
Outkick 360's Jonathan Hutton joins Chase, Willie, and D-Mace to talk all things Titans and NFL.
I hope that they're not throwing flags simply because the league wants to see more of them.
He's got opinions and insights on the two-tone blue.
They are not as good at wide receiver and the playmaking department.
Catch Hutton every Wednesday at noon. Presented by Blend Bar with Davidoff Cigars and by Edley's Barbecue on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Calm morning, but the afternoon, late afternoon toward the evening hours, scattered showers move in and a few thunderstorms attached to those. One or two of those could be on the stronger side.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Looking for quality recreational sports in Nashville? Look no further than Mid-State Sports. With over 25,000 participants, they're one of the largest sports organizations in the Southeast. Winter registration is now open for adult indoor soccer, indoor flag football, indoor volleyball, and basketball. Youth registration includes indoor soccer and basketball. For a full list of youth and adult sports leagues, check out midstatesports.com.
Hey, it's Joe Rexroad for FanDuel Sportsbook. Now's the perfect time to download FanDuel, folks. This is America's #1 sportsbook, and new customers get a no-sweat first bet right now up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. All you have to do is sign up with promo code Joe102. FanDuel has all your favorites, of course. You got your money line, your point spread. You can get different player props. You can combine these things for a bigger payout with the same game parlay. If I was looking at Titans, Eagles, big one coming up Sunday. I mean, I got to go A.J. Brown anytime touchdown, right? Also, though, I think I got to go Titans in this game. That'd be two of my parlay legs. You do whatever you want. Just know that you're going to get paid fast. It's safe, secure, and very important to me, easy to use. Sign up with promo code Joe102 for your no-sweat first bet. Again, promo code Joe102. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older in present Tennessee. First online room money wager only. Refund issue is now withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line, 800-889-9789.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
Yo, Pablo Torre here, host of the ESPN Daily Podcast. When you want to go beyond your feed, when you want to get inside the score, when you want to get behind the highlight, there's ESPN Daily. Go deeper into the stories of the moment. Get the exclusive access and insider perspective that only ESPN can give you. ESPN Daily, hosted by me, Pablo Torre. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
The choice is yours, Wednesdays at 8:45. Brought to you by Jarrett Companies. Now hiring experienced sprinkler experts. Go to jarrettfire.com. JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, a company above and beyond industry standards.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexroad.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexroad every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Jeff being the best blocking tight end, has anything happened that's closed the gap there? Maybe in him blocking less well and the other guys blocking better?
Well, just going to continue to try to get guys in there. I think that Jeff had some good blocks. I think there was, a couple that, have to be absolutely better. We can't turn and dictate, where the running back runs. We have to get into the line of scrimmage. We have to be on our landmark, cover them up. But that group is, we've got 4 of those guys that are active, and We're going to have to continue to try to, figure out, who's going to play, who's going to do what, and who can help us.
Is he making progress as a blocker?
Yeah. He's a willing blocker, and, he's continuing to do that. And, we got to continue to stay on him with the details. And, he's got a unique skill set, and, he's done a nice job on special teams.
There you go. That was Vrabel not wanting to answer the question about Jeff Swaim and Chig yesterday. Again, as far as snap count was concerned, Jeff Swaim, an appalling 31 snaps, 54%. Chig Okonkwo, 19, 33%. Bob Shoop's with us. Coach, I gave you the mission of saying, okay, watch this tape and figure out why the hell this guy Jeff Swaim plays so much, because it's the number one bone up my tush when it comes to the Titans and their offensive coordinator is how much this man plays. I cannot get over how much it just drives me insane that they put this guy out there on the field. Caroline, do you think this is a fair question to ponder as much as I do?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I think everyone in the city of Nashville is asking themselves that question.
Coach, why do they love this guy so much? What did the tape say?
Well, the tape didn't say what Coach Vrabel said. Coach Vrabel said that he's their best blocking tight end. I didn't come away thinking, by any stretch of the imagination, did I come away thinking this guy's a bad player. But had you not given me that assignment, I'm not sure I would have noticed he was in the game or not in the game. There were two plays in general where I thought he had poor blocks. One when he was pulling on a counter, and one at the point of attack where he's blocking Von Bell, and Von Bell stood up in the hole and protected his gap very, very well. But for the most part, that's who they are. They're going to be a team that plays 12 personnel, one back, two tight ends, 13 personnel, one back, three tight ends. And as he said, we want to see people get bodies on bodies and allow our big running back to run through arm tackles. And if we can't get bodies on bodies and get people's butts in the hole, that's what you want as a blocker. You want your butt to the hole so that the ball carrier can run in that hole. Then they're going to have problems. And I said on Sunday, my observation was the Bengals did an outstanding job, whether it was 91 Hendrickson, 94 Sam Hubbard. I thought they got the better of their one-on-one matchups, not just against Swaim, but just against all those tight ends. But what Swaim doesn't give you probably is what Chiggs and Hooper give you, a threat in the pass game whatsoever.
Can those guys block?
They were
Hooper
okay.
And Okonkwo? Like, would you take the ability of what they can do in the pass game off the field to signal to the defense what you're going to do to put Swaim and his ability to block?
I think that's a good observation. And one of the things, I've always done as a defense coordinator, the first thing you do is you look at who's in the game on offense, and then you look at what the down and distance is and who's in the game. And then you design a game plan to stop their tendencies out of the down and distance and the personnel grouping in the game. And more specifically then, with tight ends, there are times that certain tight ends are in the game, he's not going out for a pass. When this tight end's in the game, it's 90% run. Oh, when this tight end's in the game and this tight end's in the game, they run to this tight end, but they don't run to this tight end. So there's all those types of tendencies that didn't show up in the game because I did look for them. Are they running to 87? Are they running to Hooper? Are they running to Rader? Are they doing those things? So I do think Coach Downing did a good job of hiding those tendencies. But at the same time, I'd have to take a deeper dive and look to see throughout the course of the season, when Swaim's in the game, is it always a run? When Swaim's in the game, I'll tell you what I don't like doing is splitting him out at wide receiver in the red zone and trying to throw him an underball like that again was a fastball that was thrown high. And yeah, all right, maybe the receiver got his hands on it and should have caught the ball, but that was another one where I thought, as well as Tannehill played, and I do think he played well, I thought those fastballs he threw in the red zone were tough plays.
Well, even if he completes that ball, it's like a gain of
2-yard
3.
gain.
Yeah, I mean, that was – here's one instance that just drove me freaking bananas. Follow me here. Titans are down 13-10. They get the ball with 2:35 to go in the third quarter. So into third quarter. 1st and 10. Tannehill deep middle to Burks for 51 yards, roughing the passer, add 15. Swaim was on the complete opposite side of the field, didn't run into the pattern,
protecting.
didn't do anything. So, again, Swaim was on the field for the big play, but he didn't do anything, and so he couldn't mess it up, but he also couldn't help it.
Didn't do anything I don't believe is an accurate statement. He was part of the protection. And that was what they're doing on those hard play actions. He's part of the protection. And as part of the protection, he blocked, Hubbard or Hendrickson and prevented him from getting to the quarterback. Now, you could make a case he didn't do a very good job or he did do a very good job. But to say he didn't do anything, I think isn't fair to Swaim or isn't fair to Todd Downing.
Okay. So he didn't do anything that anybody else could have done.
No, that there you have a point. That anybody else could have done is a different statement. That's a different statement.
1st and 10 from the 12. Derrick Henry left tackle for 5 yards. Swain was on the right side.
And they ran left.
And Hooper blocked well. And voila, 5 yards. That is a good game.
That was the gap scheme play I was talking about where they had it now 2nd and 5.
2nd and 5 from the Cincinnati 7. Henry left tackle for 1 yard. Swain was on the left side.
And Rader.
So we run to his side, and we run away from him, we gain 5. We run to his side, we gain 1.
And that's the play that Rader was in at fullback. And a week ago it was Carter leading those blocks. They had Rader in at fullback, 13 personnel, 1 back, 3 tight ends, and they got very little on that play.
And what also made me mad about that was and this is where I was sitting in my seats, which are across from the Titans bench, as soon as that play was over, which set up 3rd and 4 from the Cincinnati 6, where Tannehill missed the ball to Okonkwo, I see 5 guys running on and 5 guys running off. I'm like, wow, be more predictable with what you're running. But again, this drive in and of itself, to me, is a great example of what happens when they don't play Swain.
And no, you're right. And Downing, to me, on 3rd down, then he has that package of people where Hilliard's a part of that, or they used a little bit of Haskins the other day as well. But that's that 3 and 4 wide receiver package where Okonkwo or Hooper's in as the actual tight end in those situations with the 3 receivers. And that was the 3rd down play we spoke about earlier, where I thought, Tannehill put a little bit too much mustard on that. The ball tipped up in the air, and as a defensive coach, you're always saying, tips and overthrows, we got to get those. And that was a dangerous moment in the game.
Coach Bob Shoup breaking down the film. Are they screwed on Sunday against Philadelphia?
Philadelphia's playing really well. They're playing with a lot of confidence. I think Jalen Hurts is outstanding. Obviously, we know about A.J. Brown. We know about Devontae Smith. They have a very good defense. They got a young defensive coordinator named John Gannon, who's one of the top minds in the game. People were talking about him as a future head coach. I think it's going to be a great challenge. I don't know John at all, but I don't know Nick Sirianni at all. But they're a team that's playing with a lot of confidence, and it's been spoken about a lot this week. That right now with the Titans at 7 and 4. There you have only one victory against a team that with a winning record, and that was the Commanders early in the season when Carson Wentz was the starting quarterback. And to me, it's a great challenge to go on the road, and it's a measuring stick. I think it's such a weird situation. We were talking about it off the air. Are the Titans the TCU of pro football? Are they the team that is going to win the AFC South, but where are they going to go once they get to the next step, which is the playoffs? So, it's a great opportunity to go and test themselves against a team that's playing at a very, very high level right now. And my gut says that Coach Vrabel and the staff will have them ready to go on Sunday.
What would you do if you were defensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts?
Oh, it's a different.
Well, wait a minute. We should tell everybody.
I was.
You have coordinated against Jalen Hurts.
Him,
and
too.
he had great receivers then, and he's got great receivers now, and he had a great running game then, and he's got a great running game now. What'd you do? What would you do if you're the Titans?
The run game with the Eagles consists of both Jalen Hurts and Miles Sanders, who's a tremendous back as well. And then you've got, like you said, you've got A.J., on the outside. You've got Devontae Smith. You've got the really good tight ends. I mean, you got players, you got playmakers at every position. So you really, you do what you do. You're always committed to stopping the run. And I'm going to make Jalen Hurts try to be a real-life quarterback. Make him sit in the pocket, make him throw the football, and beat me throwing the football like a pro football quarterback should do.
Would you spy him?
Yeah, I think you have to spy him on 3rd down at times. I think, especially after this week's game against Joe Burrow, where Joe Burrow, and again, he didn't make a lot of yards running the ball. He had 32 yards rushing, but he manipulates his way in the pocket. He finds little seams, and if you have a spy standing there like an evil robot, and all of a sudden he inserts himself and gets right in Joe Burrow's face, maybe a couple of those key 3rd downs they did convert, on the drive right before the half, and at the end, maybe those don't happen.
Who would you spy him with? Because I don't know who can run with him on the defense. Can one of the linebackers run with him? Can the would you have to use a safety on him?
My first thought was Long, to be honest. I mean, again, it's the technique, really. As a spy, what you can't do is go away from the line of scrimmage. You have to step into the line of scrimmage and not give ground, so that on his first movement right there, you're inserting yourself right now to that rush lane. So there's not a significant amount of space between the quarterback and his scramble area right there. So you don't need to be a corner. You don't need to be a nickel. You don't need to be a safety. Hooker would be good at that. Someone like that, he'd be really good at that. But you don't need to be a defensive back to do that. You just need to play the technique correctly. You can't go away from the line of scrimmage, because now all of a sudden you're creating more separation between you and a really, really good athlete.
Coach Bob Shoup, great stuff, Coach. Thank you for stopping by with us. for the hour. Always good to see you, Coach.
Looking forward to watching the film next week.
There you go. Coming up next on the program, I got to say something. I got to say something that a lot of people aren't going to expect out of me, but I got to tip my cap to the University of Tennessee. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute. Disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines, like trendy, so are man buns, or great potential, just like your ex. Must see inside, yeah, because it's a dump outside. My team at TJ Anderson Homes at Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says open floor plan, the doors are sold separately. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Do Tennesseans know every word to Rocky Top? Well, the construction industry doesn't call our area rock country for no reason. Harmon Tractor and Equipment is your tractor and equipment solution and Middle Tennessee's employee-owned Link Belt and Takeuchi dealer. So if you hit rock, need a breaker, and it's time to dig, give them a call. Rent a track loader, an excavator of any size for landscaping, building a pool, construction, utilities, or more. Visit ParmanTractor.com, providing totally outrageous customer service.
It's electric in Smashville. The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429 has a new path to a dignified career. Local 429 is accepting applications for the highest skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, your proud seventh man since the beginning. Go Preds.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
These are battles, these are grinds. We don't panic, we don't freak out. That's how we're built.
1, 2, 3. This is your drive to the playoffs update, presented by Coleman Tractor, Tennessee's largest Kubota dealer, on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Mike Vrabel addressed the media on Monday and had some good news for the Tennessee Titans on the injury front. The Titans are going to take a look at Kyle Phillips and Ola Adeni to see if they could potentially come off IR this week and get back on the practice field. As they head into Week 13, Mike Vrabel said the players need to make sure they're locked in mentally and physically.
Well, you have to continue to improve. You have to continue to improve when practice reps are down late in the season. Focus on, how you're going to improve technically, skills that you need for your job, how you're going to improve physically, how much more rest you plan on getting. Look at your nutrition, your conditioning, weight training, and then focus on improving mentally. How you're absorbing the information, your ability to get recovered from good plays, from wins, from bad plays, from losses, keep things in perspective. So that's the challenge, and that's, where we're starting.
The team will be back in action on Wednesday as they begin to prep for the Eagles in Philly on Sunday. This report is presented by Coleman Tractor. I'm Michelle Knezovic for 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT-FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3. A Gunny
performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
The Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Live from Bridgestone Arena tonight, the Predators and the Anaheim Ducks are going at it, 7 o'clock. Boy, I tell you, they have cleaned this place up. I walked through here knowing about all the flood damage and everything. I mean, they have apparently spent hours and hours and hours getting it ready. It looks great.
You can
We'll
tell.
be excited for that. Coach Bob Shoop will be at the game tonight, so we're excited about that too. And by the way, if you just are hopping into the car, whatever may have you, Coach Bob Shoop's film breakdown, listen to the podcast later. Subscribe to all of our podcasts, I would hope. But man, was that some good stuff. Now, Tennessee, I got to tell you, I had the most interesting Saturday as far as college football was concerned because I was doing Sirius XM from 2 to 6, which it's not like normally like during the summer if I did a 2 to 6, I could literally do my day just like I do my day for this show because this show is from
2 to 6.
But that, because of Ohio State, Michigan, I knew that that's what that was going to be. And so I watched Ohio State, Michigan, knowing that, it was going to be all anybody wanted to talk about. The 2 o'clock hour I spent on the radio literally going between that and the Clemson and South Carolina game of we now go live to Clemson, South Carolina. We now go live to Ohio State, Michigan, going between the two. And that was when I knew, when I was kind of following South Carolina, Clemson, that I knew that Saturday was going to be freaking off the chain crazy.
And it was.
It was crazy. And so then I watched the Ohio State-Michigan game, then I did the show. Then as soon as the Ohio State-Michigan game was over, I did 3 hours on Ohio State-Michigan, just phones. It was wild. It was just me repeating myself and talking to all these people about the Ohio State-Michigan game. And I thought about it, and I was like, every sports radio station in America is playing a football game right now. So this is like the only place that was talking, I'm sure there was like a Ohio State postgame show and a Michigan, but again,
nationally,
for the country. So anywho, after that, I was footballed out. I sat on the couch and I was just flipping between the games, USC Notre Dame and Tennessee Vanderbilt. And then I saw Caroline on TV. She was in College Station.
You saw me?
No. But
I was waving to you just in case.
She was in College Station.
Unfortunately, I was.
And I watched that game.
It was a fun trip.
For a little bit. And I thought, wow, they're going to lose to this terrible Texas A&M team. And then all of a sudden, a light bulb popped. And I go, oh, my God.
Tennessee.
Tennessee's going to go to the Orange Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or something. And so here we are today. Tennessee season is over. LSU could beat Georgia and then wouldn't get into the playoff, but then they would probably jump Tennessee as far as the rankings are concerned, and then they could get in the Orange Bowl, but they're not going to.
Or the Sugar Bowl.
If you beat, I guess if they win the SEC, they would be the SEC team of the Sugar Bowl.
They would go to the Sugar Bowl.
So
I'm not expecting that to happen.
If you lose to Texas A&M, you're not going to beat Georgia. Rule of thumb. And so
what?
Here we sit
Alabama
today.
did it last year.
Different teams. That A&M team.
What?
That A&M team this year, way worse than that A&M team last year.
But that line of
that
thinking
Georgia
is
team last
flawed.
year might be the exact same Georgia team this year. But I move on. Tennessee season is over. They're 10-2. They're going to go to at least the Orange Bowl. If Alabama backdoors into the playoff, which I'm not completely ruling out,
I'm not either.
and I don't think we should rule it out, and I'm kind of hoping for it. Roll Tide, kind of. I just don't want to see
Why
USC
are you
in the playoff.
hoping for it?
I hate USC. I hate Lincoln Riley. I just
what
don't.
What was the same argument that you were banging the table on about LSU not getting into the playoff?
Oh, no. I told you. The committee, we'll get into this in a second. I told you the committee does not put in 2 lost teams. They only care about how many games you do lose. So they're going to put Ohio State in over Alabama. They shouldn't put Ohio State in over Alabama. I wouldn't put Ohio State in over Alabama. But they are going to, if USC loses. I don't even know who they're playing in the Pac-12 championship Friday night. Who are they playing?
Oregon?
I don't know. if USC loses, they are going to put Ohio State into the playoff. Like, I just want everybody to know that ahead of time. That even though it should be Alabama, they're going to put in. But going back to Tennessee, they're going to be 10-2, which I predicted to start the season. And they're going to either go to the Orange or the Sugar Bowl, probably the Orange Bowl. I don't think there's anything bad you can say about that season. I really don't. I mean, I look at Tennessee's season this year, and, when they lost the South Carolina game, all these people were talking about how, well, even though they blew their chance to the playoff, and we all know now if they had beaten South Carolina, they absolutely, positively would have been in the college football playoff. But, they lost that game to South Carolina, and so it is what it is. But, if you had told me before the year, and I was like, no, we are not doing if you told me before the season that they would be here, because that's loser talk. You lost to South Carolina. You should look at it like, our defense let us down. I can't believe it. But now that the season is over, and now that we know that at worst they're going to end up in the Orange Bowl, which is a legitimate New Year's 6 BCS bowl game, and they're probably going to get Clemson, so it's going to be a premier opponent, not Tulane or some loser school, but like a real team in the Orange Bowl. I'm like, this is a great season for Tennessee football. It really is. And when I said they were going to go 10-2 before the year, I didn't think about how it could be, it'll be the Orange Bowl or the Sugar Bowl or the whatever. I didn't think about that. But for Josh Heupel to have inherited the program where he did, for them to have made the steps they made last season in a positive direction, for them to have had the year they had this year where, they were competitive in almost every game except for South Carolina, and they were competitive in the Georgia game. They just didn't win the Georgia game. I mean, that was a positive season. It was a good season. This is the best Tennessee football season, I think, probably since 2001 when they made it to the SEC championship game and they lost to LSU and Nick Saban. I think this is the best Tennessee football season in 20 years. And so there is not – if they had lost to Vandy, which after those two teams played, there's no chance they would have lost to Vandy. If they had lost to Vandy, it would have been an unmitigated disaster for what would have happened to that program, for them to have been where they were to where they ended up. But 10-2, Orange Bowl, Clemson, also 10-2. They'll probably be 11-2 when they win the – that is a great season. That's a great season for Tennessee.
The only part that I'm gonna pee in your flakes, your frosted flakes for a little bit is, in theory, yeah, I mean, that's a great season, especially considering what Josh Heupel inherited, especially considering what the past 20 years of Tennessee football has been like. But looking at what this Tennessee team was all season long, they beat Florida. They went on the road and blew LSU out. They beat Alabama. They finally got that monkey off their back. All of those things considered, and you miss the playoff?
Yeah, I'm fine with that, though.
I mean, I think, in theory, 10-2 in an Orange Bowl bid or maybe even a Sugar Bowl bid, that's outstanding.
They have no chance to win the national championship.
Considering what this team was all season long, how dominant they were, considering that they were the number one team in the country for a week.
But they weren't dominant against Georgia. So it's like that was kind of a de facto play-in game. If they had won, they'd have been in the playoff.
Okay, but even if they still would have lost that game, though.
They couldn't.
Going 11-1 and making the playoff, the fact that that was a tangible thing that this team seriously could have done, that's a disappointment.
I don't feel it. I mean, maybe you could look at it and say, like, oh, they lost to South Carolina. They shouldn't have lost to South Carolina. I look at it like, hey, Tennessee's come a long way.
Absolutely.
And Tennessee is not as good as Georgia. And Tennessee would not have beaten Georgia again. And so they would not have won the national championship. So the difference is, okay, now they don't lose to Michigan in, whatever Peach Bowl or I guess Fiesta Bowl. And instead they get to play in the Orange Bowl. And I think Tennessee is going to finish with where their team is. They're going to finish like the 7th team in the country. They're probably the 7th best team in the country. And for that, I'm fine with it. I think this is a good season for Tennessee. Could it have been better? Sure, if they had beaten South Carolina. But you got Joe Milton in at quarterback trying to win the championship. Probably wouldn't have happened. I think that this is a great step. I think this is a great season. And there is nothing I'm going to say. Plus, Apparently, USC's playing Utah, which they'll probably win that game, but Utah is respectable. I mean, Tennessee would have needed Utah or TCU to lose. I mean, excuse me, USC or TCU to lose in order to get in. I think they maxed out. I think this is what their team is. No, they didn't max out. Max out would have been the playoff. I think they got to where their team is, and they got to the first BCS level game, because I think there's a difference between the New Year's Six, which includes the Peach Bowl and the Cotton Bowl, and, the Orange Bowl or the Rose Bowl or the Sugar Bowl. They got to the Orange Bowl, and I think it's a great season for Tennessee. And I think Tennessee fans can remember this team fondly. They'll love this team. They should love this team. I understand why they love this team. I think it's a good season for Tennessee. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Boy, Tennessee fans are all worked up about this one little ridiculous argument, which we'll get into coming up next. 615-737-1025 here on the program. Again, we are live out at Bridgestone Arena, where the Preds have a big one tonight against the Anaheim Ducks. That game is, of course, at 7 o'clock. 615-737-1025 is the number for you to get in. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at 1025 The Game Nashville. And Preds fans, tonight, hang out before the Preds game at the Superbook Lounge and Landshark Bar and Grill, Margaritaville on Broadway, with 1025 1063 The Game. Place your bets with the Superbook and enjoy great food and drink specials. Plus, enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Attention all fire and safety line experts. Middle Tennessee's fastest growing fire protection company is looking for experienced service technicians, designers, and sprinkler system experts like you. Tired of working for a large corporate employer? Work for a company where you're more than just a number. Jarrett Fire Protection is owned and operated by Nashville natives and wants to invite you to grow with their amazing team.
Hi, I'm Jason Jarrett, owner of Jarrett Companies. I'm looking to hire experienced sprinkler experts and will offer a sign-on bonus of up to $5,000 for certified professionals. In addition to our great benefits that include a 401k match, PTO, and top pay with annual bonuses, we will also provide you with the top-of-the-line tools, trucks, and equipment that you need to grow your career. Our customer base is large and business is booming with many opportunities for advancement. Give us a call or go online to jarrettfire.com and apply today to become a member of our family and protect our community. That's JARRETT fire.com. Jarrett Companies, where we are above and beyond industry standards.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
It's easy to think all money managers are pretty much the same, but at Fisher Investments, we're clearly different.
Different? How? You sell high-commission investment products, right?
No, Fisher Investments doesn't sell any commission-based investment products.
Well, you must earn commissions on trades.
Nope, never at Fisher. We're a fiduciary, obligated to act in our client's best interest. It's the highest standard of care for a financial advisor.
How do you know what's in their best interest?
We get to know our clients and then tailor a portfolio based on their goals and needs.
But you probably sneak in some hidden and layered fees.
No, we have one transparent management fee, structured so we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, you really do look out for your clients.
That's because our top priority is helping them achieve a comfortable retirement. It might be why most of our clients come from other money managers. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you switch to us. Fisher Investments. Clearly different money management.
Investments and securities involve the risk of loss.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
They're asking me to put what my top 6 currently would be, and I'd put Georgia up at 1. Michigan after the big win today. TCU would move up to 3. USC I would put in at 4. And Alabama, even with the 2 losses, I would have at 5. Ohio State I would drop down to 6. The reason I'd put Alabama at 5, their 2 losses were in the last plays of the game in 2 of the toughest atmospheres that we saw all year. At Tennessee, at LSU, those are their 2 losses, and I think the way they finished the year, obviously much better than Ohio State.
Amen, Kirk Herbstreit. Amen. I agree. I think the way the college football playoff should shape up right now, he had his 6 right there. Georgia 1, I agree. Michigan
disagree.
2, I agree.
I think Michigan should be 1.
TCU 3, fine, I agree. And 4, USC. 5, Alabama, I agree. 6, Ohio State, I agree. Here are the 2 things that I do not think, and I've seen the arguments for both. 1, that Tennessee should be ahead of Alabama because they beat Alabama, which ignores the fact that they lost by 30 to South Carolina, and they don't have their starting quarterback. So there's a big argument of, well, Tennessee has better wins than Alabama and resume. Don't care. Don't care. You don't have your quarterback. You lost on the road to South Carolina. Alabama's lost by 4 points on the road, over on the last play of the game both times. No. 2, I think Ohio State freaking got exposed. I'm sorry. You lose by 3 touchdowns at home? 3 touchdowns at home? And the other team didn't even have their best player? No. You don't belong in the playoff. So I agree with Herbie 100%. I think this is all based on whether or not USC wins on Friday. And if USC loses on Friday, Alabama, with 2 losses, should represent the Southeastern Conference as the 4th team in the college football playoff. I agree. I think they're going to put Ohio State in ahead of Alabama, which I won't agree with. I think that's what they're going to do. But I agree. I believe that Alabama should be the 5th team in the playoff, and they should be the only team that has a chance to make it, and that's only if USC doesn't win. And so I agree with Herbie. I do not want to see Tennessee in there. They don't belong in there. And I do not want to see Ohio State in there. They don't belong in there either. Your thoughts?
What about, do you have TCU at 3?
Yeah, TCU's in. TCU loses, they're
still
stay in. Stay in.
That was the difficult thing for me, was ranking Ohio State and Alabama. With Tennessee, I mean, I hear Tennessee fans being upset, saying we beat Alabama, we should be above Alabama. Don't lose at South Carolina, and there won't be this conversation. But the most difficult thing for me was Ohio State versus Alabama, because Ohio State has fewer losses. So technically, in the eyes of the college football playoff, they were the number 2 team in the country. They lost to the number 3 team in the country. They have 1 loss on their schedule. Based off of that logic, they should be above Alabama. But when you look at the 2 teams, Ohio State's most difficult games on their schedule, Notre Dame and Michigan. They beat a Notre Dame team that went on to lose to Marshall and Stanford. I know that they had a little late season resurgence, but
and
that
the committee loves Notre Dame.
Dame.
Love them.
But the most difficult game on their schedule was Michigan. That was the most difficult test, and they failed that test. But they haven't played anyone else. They haven't played anyone else on their schedule.
Here's the one thing that Alabama and Ohio State both have going for them, or really against them here, which is that, unlike all the other things that we know about the college football playoff, where they'll look at it and just say, like, TCU. Nobody watches TCU play.
No.
So all we know about TCU is that they're undefeated. That's it. Mm-hmm. Nobody watches. We watched the end of the Baylor game, but nobody watches TCU. Everybody, including the committee, has watched Alabama, and Ohio State.
Yes.
So when I don't think it matters that TCU beat Baylor at the buzzer on a field goal, or if they had beaten Baylor, 28-14.
A win's a win.
I don't think it matters. I do think the way that Ohio State lost on Saturday matters because everybody saw it.
But also, in that same breath, I'm going to talk onto both sides of my mouth here. I say Ohio State hasn't beaten anyone. Who was Alabama beaten?
Alabama really hadn't beaten anybody either.
Ole Miss.
I think Ole Miss is their best win.
Which is not very impressive.
Not
considering
impressive at all.
Ole Miss went 8-4 this season.
Did Alabama not play a Week 1 game against a good team?
Utah State. And
what happened to
they blew them out like 55-0.
Doesn't Alabama always? Oh, they played Texas. That's it. Texas and Ole Miss would be their two best wins. Agreed.
Yeah, but still
not
unimpressive wins.
Agreed. Not
so
great.
If we're going to make that argument, and I don't watch enough Big Ten football to say, your win over whoever is more impressive than a win over Ole Miss or Texas. But still, neither of those teams really have the most impressive marquee wins.
I am convinced that the committee will put Ohio State in ahead of Alabama.
Because of the losses.
Just because they'll always
justify
take the one-loss team over the two-loss team, except for this is the way I would say it. I think that Alabama and Ohio State are roughly even. As far as if they were to play on a neutral field today, I would lean Alabama because I think Ryan Day is a total phony. And I think, this was a big theme on XM on Saturday after the game was, Ryan Day. Hey,
hot seat?
Well,
I'm joking.
He's not the guy. These two Michigan games. Last year when Michigan beat Ohio State, it was like, hey, Michigan was due. Michigan was due. It's been all these years.
Yeah.
They were playing at home. It snowed. Hassan Haskins went crazy. Like, they were due. But it was a fluke. And Ohio State, they'll be back to being Ohio State. This was less of a fluke than last year. They were at home. Michigan's starting running back was hurt or was out, basically. Their backup running back was hurt. And all of a sudden, they freaking beat the crap out of them.
Yeah.
That was less, in my opinion, less of an accident. And so I look at it like this. For me, now I'm biased. We all know this. I'm more of an SEC guy than I'm a Big Ten guy. Alabama took the risk of scheduling a road game at a legitimate Power 5 team. I view Texas and Ohio State as Texas and Notre Dame kind of the same. And not about, their strength of schedule is 14 and their strength of schedule is 18. I don't care about that. Alabama took the risk. They scheduled the road game at Texas. They won the road game. Ohio State played theirs at home. Ohio State.
Not home and homes?
I don't know if Texas is coming back or not. I just know that this year
I believe so.
they took the risk of going there this season. And so that is a wash. So I don't want to hear about the Ohio State. Then I've got Alabama's lost their 2 games by 4 points on the road. Ohio State lost theirs by 3 touchdowns at home. And that's just, if I was in the committee room, and I said this, all weekend, we'd have a hung jury trying to figure this out because I'm not changing my vote to Ohio State over Alabama.
But I'm just thinking of what the committee will do, and they will default to the number of losses. Of course. And if USC
and
wins
they beat Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's quad 3 out-of-conference road schedule was higher than Texas's and game control. I know.
But if USC wins the conference championship, I know the committee will breathe a sigh of relief that they don't have to deal with the Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee debacle, and they won't have to even consider putting a 2-loss team into the playoff.
You think Tennessee's really part of that discussion, though?
No. No, I really don't. I mean, they don't. If Hendon Hooker was in the conversation, I would maybe say maybe, but no Hendon Hooker and you lost at South Carolina, no.
What's funny about this is that some people will look at this as the argument for why we need 12 teams.
I think this is the reason why there shouldn't be 12 teams.
I think that the BCS, we'd have Georgia and Michigan, and that's exactly how it should be. In the day of the BCS, we'd have Georgia and Michigan in Los Angeles, and that's how it should be.
What a great game.
And that's probably how it's going to be. And Georgia's probably going to win. Trevor Maddich will join us next. Boy, I got a lot. I mean, we haven't even gotten to the Hugh Freeze thing. We'll get into that with Trevor. We'll get to that coming up next. Trevor Maddich, ESPN college football analyst, live from Bridgestone Arena. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
This is Colton Sissons, and this is Smashville.
Feeds now, Sissons coming on from the left circle, and Colton Sissons puts it in the net.
This is the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network. ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces, hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models, Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event, so if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition, and our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy-sell trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Live. An unforgettable evening of Led Zeppelin's greatest hits and deepest cuts. This Wednesday night at Ryman Auditorium. Tickets on sale now at Ryman.com. Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Evening. Sponsored by PNC Bank and Access. Proud partners of Ryman Auditorium.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make Christmas happen.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game and a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
Are you a fan of Twin Peaks? Sign up for their e-club to stay up to date on all things Twin Peaks and score free stuff. Signing up is easy. Just visit twinpeaksrestaurant.com/peaks-club to get started today.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow.
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
Are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Mookie Betts. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Wild Saturday of college football. Obviously, we know about Michigan and Ohio State, which I think we were surprised how bad the beatdown was. But also LSU getting upset by A&M. Sorry about it, Caroline. But what that means for everybody else, Clemson upset by South Carolina. Goodbye to Clemson. TCU plays in the Big 12 championship game. Do they need it? I don't know. USC beats Notre Dame. They're in if they win Friday against Utah. Are they going to win? I don't know. Trevor Maddox joins us, ESPN college football analyst, presented by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Win experience matters. Trev, let's start with this. You are the playoff committee. I shouldn't say you are the playoff committee. Your anticipation, before we get to the games, what happened, how they happened, what do you anticipate to be the top 6 tonight from the playoff committee?
Okay, I think the top 6 will be Georgia, Michigan, TCU, USC in the top 4. And then they've got to decide between Alabama and Ohio State. I expect them to put Alabama at number 5 and Ohio State at number 6.
Okay, let's stop there. Why Alabama ahead of Ohio State?
Because Alabama's playing better now at the end of the season. Alabama's got 2 losses. Ohio State only has the one against Michigan. But those 2 losses were both on the road against teams that were ranked in the top 10 at the time and teams that won on a walk-off play on the last play of the game, that field goal for Tennessee, and then the 2-point conversion for LSU. That's their 2 losses. But keep this in mind about Alabama as well, and the committee is supposed to pay attention to things like this. Whether they get this nuanced remains to be seen. But remember when Alabama quarterback Bryce Young got hurt, he hurt his shoulder, and he only missed part of one game and then a full game after that, missed the Arkansas game. But he missed about a month of practice. And so when he came back, Bryce Young was playing at a high level. But the young receivers, the young running backs, the new guys around him lost the ability for a full month to develop with him during practice. And you could tell guys were in the wrong spot. They were dropping passes. They were not anticipating what Young was going to do on the scramble very well. That's in the middle of the season. At the end of the season, Alabama has tightened up a lot. They've tightened up when it comes to penalties. They've tightened up when it comes to drop passes. The quarterback and receivers look much more in sync. And I think the committee will look at Alabama compared to Ohio State, who got blown out on their home field by a team that was ranked behind them, Michigan, in their final game of the season. And they'll say, okay, even though Alabama's got 2 losses, which team is the better team right now? Which team is more worthy of being in the top 4 right now? And I think Alabama has given the committee more reasons to put them in should one of the others lose their conference championship game.
Trevor Matich is with us here on the program. So, Trevor, along those lines, again, you've got USC at 4, I think, as does everybody else. They play Utah on Friday night. If USC loses, would you then put Alabama, who you have at 5 with 2 losses, ahead of USC?
I would, because USC then will also have 2 losses, and USC will be the same team. It'll be the Utah. But they will have lost at Utah by 1 point, and it's tough to win at Utah. I think that's one of the things the committee sees in USC is that their 1 loss is not a bad loss at all. But if they then face that same team, the Utes, on a neutral field in the Pac-12 championship game and lose again, then I don't think the committee will put them in. And the reason is their defense. The defense for USC has played better in recent weeks. But overall, it's a liability. And I can see the committee viewing USC the way that they viewed Oklahoma in the days of Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray, with great offense, liability of a defense, and that gives them an excuse to would be a team that will qualify.
Okay. Does TCU, who you have at 3, they're currently undefeated, do they need to win the Big 12 championship in order to get in, or are they in either way?
TCU, if they lose a tight one, might be in, because the committee, people say the committee doesn't like TCU, but I think the committee does like TCU. I think the committee has realized that TCU has gotten really good at winning tough games. They've fallen behind by double digits at times in the first half and come back and won. They've won in different ways. They've won with stellar offense, but the defense made it a track meet. They've won where the offense didn't go anywhere. And the defense won with stellar defense like they did against Texas. And I think the committee will look at that, not from the standpoint of 1 or 2 games they might have gotten lucky, but the entire season, and see TCU is actually a really, really good football team. And so I think that TCU has a chance to get in anyway. Even so, TCU would be exposing themselves to the committee making that same evaluation that we talked about between Alabama and Ohio State. Who's the better team right now? So if TCU does lose, they have to lose while still looking better than Alabama or, in this case, Ohio State, because they won't have that tiebreaker of a conference championship, which would require Alabama or Ohio State to be unequivocally better than TCU in the committee's mind, which would happen if TCU does win their their conference championship game. If they don't do that, then it's just preponderance of the evidence. Which team do we think is better today? And TCU, I think, has an edge there. But if I'm the Horned Frogs, I wouldn't want to put that part in the hands of the committee.
Sure. So basically what you're telling me is you think that that it's basically down to 5 teams, and it's either USC wins and they're in, or Alabama takes their spot if they lose. Is that correct?
That is the most likely scenario. Although USC, they're favored, I think, by about a field goal, but Utah has the edge from ESPN's Football Power Index, FPI, has Utah winning with a 62% advantage over USC. So that's the only team that's not favored by FPI in the conference championship game that will likely be in the top 4 here tonight. But keep in mind that TCU, I think, has a 53% chance to win their conference championship against Kansas State, according to FPI. So either one of those is basically, an opportunity. And if you're Alabama or Ohio State, if you think you should be the one, it's not a done deal that those 4 teams that will be ranked ahead of you tonight will win.
If I'm Kirby Smart, Trevor Matich is with us. If I'm Kirby Smart and I see Utah beat USC on Friday night, which then tells me, according to what you think is going to happen tonight, in which Alabama is going to be 5 ahead of Ohio State at 6, and I see that I'm going to have to play Alabama if I win, or if I lose on Saturday, then Michigan will draw Alabama and I'll get to play TCU. Would you be surprised if Kirby saw that and rested all of his starters for the SEC championship game on Saturday in hopes of dropping to number 2 and avoiding Alabama in the Peach Bowl?
No, I think he'd kind of like to play Alabama in the Peach Bowl to start with, because I think he'd like to beat Nick Saban again. Nick Saban, there have been seasons where they've been down. That means they lose 2, and they don't make the playoffs. That's happened a couple of times here recently. Mm-hmm. But still, Nick Saban and Alabama are the team to beat. Now, Georgia beat them last year, and this year, I'm sure they'd like another chance to beat them again, just to cement that there's a new king in town. Another thing about it is that Georgia would never want to sit people down and lose the SEC championship game. The SEC championship is a massive feather in anybody's cap, and Nick Saban has said that it's actually harder to win the SEC than it is to win the national championship. And I think that Georgia will sell out and do everything they can to win the SEC championship and let the rest of the chips fall where they may.
Trevor, what do you make of who should be number 1 between Georgia and Michigan?
See, that's a good question, because I've heard a lot of people say that Michigan should be number 1. But when you break it down, it's Georgia. Georgia should be number 1. And Michigan has that great win on the road at Ohio State, okay? So I think people, though, have to be careful that while there's a balance with the committee of strength of schedule, strength of record, all the rest of it, best win, it's important to not worship at the altar of the almighty spreadsheet to the exclusion of what happens on tape. Mm-hmm. And when you compare Georgia and Michigan, you see the 2 best defenses statistically in the country. They are both rock-solid defenses. You see rock-solid running games on both sides. That actually give the edge to Michigan. Michigan, the best offensive line in the country, and especially if their Heisman candidate running back, Blake Corum, is healthy after a month's rest here, then I'd still give the edge there. But Michigan's running game is very, very good. The reason I would put Georgia at number 1 is that I trust Georgia's passing game to be more consistent than I do Michigan's. In other words, Georgia is more reliably balanced on offense than Michigan is, in my opinion. Now, they lit up Ohio State, right? But keep in mind that most of the yards in the passing game came on 3 big passes. One was a 69-yard touchdown, I think it was, to Cornelius Johnson, who broke a tackle and then went off from a short pass to a long touchdown because he broke a tackle. Another one was a really bad coverage, just super bad coverage, and Cornelius Johnson was wide open. So credit J.J. McCarthy, the quarterback for Michigan, for putting the ball out in front of him so he could catch it while he was running. That was good, and he went off for a long touchdown. And then the other one, the freshman tight end snuck behind the defense while the defense was up trying to stop the run as Michigan was grinding it out in the second half. not to take anything away from McCarthy and from the Michigan passing game, but you didn't see that a lot from them over the course of the season. It was more likely to see a nice 20-yard gain in a passing play, but it was a receiver that was open, and the ball made the receiver slow down to catch it so that the defense could then catch up and make the tackle right there. If the ball had been out in front, the receiver could catch it, turn upfield, and have a lot of yards after the catch, if not all the way to the house. And so that's sort of the book season long on the Michigan passing game. They leave too many opportunities on the table. Against Ohio State, they didn't leave those opportunities on the table, give them credit. But I trust Georgia to be more consistent with that and to be more reliably balanced on offense. That's why I have them at number 1.
Trevor Matich is with us. We got coaching hires. Hugh Freeze returns to the SEC, plus some other moves, and one dude that I'm like, you know what, I'm out on. We'll get that with Trevor next. Right here, Trevor Matich, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Stillman & Company, live from Bridgestone Arena. Let me tell you about Edley's Barbecue. A lot of people, now that it's holiday season, you're going to be having your holiday parties. And if you've got your holiday parties, you need to cater with my friends at Edley's Barbecue. Let Edley's Barbecue cater your next event. They were voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. And I know this because they're the Jared Stillman best barbecue in Nashville. Edley's Barbecue is a winning pick. They've got pickup, delivery, and full-service catering. So if you're throwing one of those big parties, you want to do all the catering, let them take care of it. They've also got full bar packages and bartending services, which are perfect for small gatherings, corporate meetings, boxed lunches, team celebrations, special occasions like a wedding, a rehearsal dinner, or a holiday party if you're going to have one. Trust me, you cannot go wrong with my friends at Edley's Barbecue. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com. Again, Edley's Barbecue has been voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. That's edleysbbq.com.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Matich joins Stillman & Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
Showers and storms, a few strong to severe, will be possible as we head through the evening hours up until about midnight. Look for showers to slowly clear early Wednesday. Temperatures fall through the day around 50 in the afternoon. For Fox 17, I'm Chief Meteorologist Katie Morgan.
This weather report brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell. Featuring the TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Woods with 60 layers of carbon for faster ball speeds. And while you're there, grab a dozen TP5 golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. There's also gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Hey, Teron Davenport here for Superbook Sports. When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of it than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. Yes, $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces, hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models, Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event, so if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition, and our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy-sell-trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, Trevor Maddich is with us, presented by Twin Peaks and Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Hugh Freeze to Auburn. And I saw that move, and I just felt like that just reeked of desperation. Now, I mean, Hugh Freeze wins some games, and he's got a nice offense and everything else. But Hugh Freeze didn't even really win that much at Ole Miss. Like, he won, but he cheated. Now, you can pay the players now, so I guess who cares? But it's not like he won the SEC or he won the SEC West when he was at Ole Miss. And we know that Auburn fans have incredibly high standards, and we know that Hugh Freeze has said and done some really dumb stuff. Trevor, your thoughts on that hire and how it all shook out? I think it's embarrassing for Auburn. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that they went with him because he beat Nick Saban 2 years in a row. Who else has done that? I mean, who else has done that? So he can make the case to Auburn fans that, look, I beat Saban not once, but twice. And, you know, we won the Sugar Bowl. And he has an offense that's tremendous fun that can keep up with anybody in the SEC. And that, I think, is what the argument was. The rest of the argument was, who else? I mean, last time they went way off the radar, and they got a very good coach in Brian Harsin out of Boise State. But the word I hear most from Auburn is alignment, that he was never accepted. Everybody wasn't aligned when it comes to the administration, the athletic department, the boosters, the fans. You know, everybody aligned behind Brian Harsin. And so he didn't really have a chance from the very beginning. And
can I just tell you that that's not, but Trevor, that's not, like, to me, when you say, you know, everybody couldn't get aligned behind Brian Harsin, so it didn't work out. That's not a knock to me on Brian Harsin. That's a knock on Auburn.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. And so what I'm saying is that who else are you going to get besides Hugh Freeze now? Because whoever comes in either has to have the personality to bring Auburn into alignment, which, according to all reports and all experience, hasn't happened for a very long time, or somebody that doesn't mind not being in alignment and can come in there and do his thing anyway. So Saban got Alabama behind him, period. His word goes. I don't think Hugh Freeze is going to be able to do that at Auburn. But I think this hire is a good one considering the other options, because even when you may not have the alignment that you need to have to maximize your potential, you've got a coach in Hugh Freeze who is a proven offensive mind, a proven motivator, and a proven recruiter. Now that NIL is legal,
sure,
he could certainly legally do the things that he was accused of doing, and the NCAA found that he did under the table when he was at Ole Miss. But when he's got those resources available, he's shown that he can bring people in, and Auburn has got resources like most other teams can only dream of in terms of NIL.
But do you think he's really that good of a coach that he'll win consistently enough for Auburn's liking? Because Gus Malzahn won plenty. He just didn't win enough for Auburn's liking.
I think he's got the best chance to. And the question is, how long will they give him to get things turned around there? But if you talk about any other coach that could come in, that knows the area, that knows the lay of the land, that knows how to match up against Saban, all those different things, I don't think there's anybody better that they could have brought in. You can make the case that Lane Kiffin might have been better. I don't even know that that's true. I think that Freeze is actually a very, very good hire. And I think the NIL that he has now means that all the stuff that happened under the table at Ole Miss can now happen above board.
Why do these ADs never try to find the next great coach? Like, why is it always, we want a guy who's already established, and that's how A&M ends up paying a gajillion dollars for the worst of Jimbo Fisher? Like, why not go do what Georgia did, where they went and they found Kirby Smart, who people I don't think thought was the best coach in college football, but it looks like he's heading in that direction. Why do athletic directors not try to do that anymore? It's like Auburn. It's like that coaching hire is beneath us. And I'm like, well, but nobody knew that. Texas is the same way. Like, nobody knows that. I mean, who thought Sonny Dykes was going to be the best coaching hire of the year, and he's got TCU in the playoff?
Right. It's because of risk. And by the way, Sonny Dykes was an established coach.
Sure.
He did good things at SMU. He did good things at Cal, by the way, before that. But the reason that they are afraid to hire the up-and-coming assistant that nobody else is paying much attention to is because of risk. If you hire that guy and it doesn't work out, what do the fans say? They say, well, we knew that wasn't going to work out. That was a dumb hire. He had no track record of success. What were you thinking? If you bring in a guy that's got a track record of success and things go slowly, it doesn't work out for a while, you can always say, look, we did our due diligence, and this coach was a good hire because of what he's done in the past. It's about risk.
Oh, see, I think it's the opposite. I think if you hire Hugh Freeze and he doesn't win, then everybody's doubly mad at you because Hugh Freeze is Hugh Freeze and you lost. Whereas if you hire, and you got to pay that guy a lot of money, if you're John Cohen and you hire Sharon Moore from Michigan, who I think should be a head coach, he's 36 years old. What are the chances that Sharon Moore is the next great coach? Well, if he's the next great coach, you just hired the next great coach at the end of the Saban era who's 36 years old. He'll be your coach for 20 or 30 years. If he's not, 2 years from now you fire him, you go hire somebody else.
Yeah, but they just hired a coach that the Auburn fan base didn't like in Brian Harsin. I don't think they were going to do that 2 years in a row. And Freeze won at Ole Miss. Freeze won at Liberty in a big way. And so I think that's where things are. And, it's just a matter of guys are trying to cover their own rear ends now. Take a look at Tennessee. What was the reaction of the Tennessee fan base when they hired Heupel, Josh Heupel?
Oh, they hated it.
Right, they hated it. What's their opinion of it now?
Oh, love it. They loved Jeremy Pruitt,
and
he was terrible.
But there's a huge risk reward in bringing somebody in like Coach Heupel that, and he was the head coach at UCF and did some good things there, but certainly he wasn't on the top of everybody's list, even Tennessee's list, for goodness sake. But it worked out because he was the right coach. It's just that you've got more slack if you hire a guy that everybody knows and that everybody agrees is a guy with a track record. And in some ways, that's the coward's way out. But the coward's way out sometimes gets you a few more years at a seven-figure salary.
Trevor, last one for you. Luke Fickell goes to Wisconsin, why he chose Wisconsin and didn't take Michigan State a couple years ago, I don't know. Meanwhile, Matt Rule is going to Nebraska. Logic would tell us one of these guys between Hugh Freeze, Matt Rule, and Luke Fickell is going to fail. Which one do you think is most likely to fail? Which one do you think is most likely to succeed?
I think Luke Fickell is most likely to succeed because he's got the hard-nosed, old-school style that he wants to build, and that's the recruiting base of Wisconsin. I think Hugh Freeze is most likely to fail because of alignment. And if he can't get things put together pretty quickly, I think that people will start complaining. Matt Rule in Nebraska is going to have to get recruits out of state and develop them. But he's shown at at Temple and Baylor that he is a master developer of players, teaching them the techniques of how to defeat the guy in front of you. And that's where I think he will elevate this program a lot more than people think, a lot more quickly. So I think Hugh Freeze is in the most danger among those three.
Trevor Matich, as always, joining us on the program on a Tuesday. Trevor, great stuff. We'll talk next week.
Thanks, Jared.
Yep, Trevor Matich, presented by Twin Peaks, 29-degree drafts, wall-to-wall sports, and Houston Clinic Orthopedics when experience matters. So I am going to foreshadow for you what is going to happen the rest of the week. I see this coming from the Tennessee Titans. I see it coming from all of them. And I know it's not the truth. We'll get to that next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3, The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the number 1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. Being arrested doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. Being served with custody paperwork doesn't have to be the worst day of your life. It may feel that way, but if you have Amanda J. Gentry representing you, you can feel confident that you're going to have the best quality representation in all of Middle Tennessee. Amanda J. Gentry goes wherever justice demands. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Achieve hero status this year. The woman in your life will love this unique and thoughtful gift. Always in style, always fits, always appreciated. Choose your budget, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, she can choose from 10 different services, all under one roof at a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Gift cards can be printed directly from the website, or they can be beautifully wrapped for a stunning presentation and even paired with other gifts like robes, candles, and all sorts of fun finds from the gift boutique. Learn more about this at amomentspeace.com/Christmas.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
Looking for a career with purpose or have that passion for youth development? Boys and Girls Clubs of Middle Tennessee provides a safe place where youth gain the tools to learn, lead, and reach their full potential. And that starts with you, offering competitive pay and free after-school care for employees. Learn more at bgcmt.org.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express, we make Christmas happen.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A gunny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stone & Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. Tomorrow, the official Eagles week starts. The Titans will be talking about the Eagles. The Eagles will return to practice after their Sunday night win over the Packers. They'll be talking about the Titans. And we all know what the number one storyline of the Titans and the Eagles game is going to be.
A.J. Brown.
A.J. Brown. In fact, Fox's number one crew will have the game, even though I think it is not a number one crew by any stretch of the imagination. I think they stink. But Kevin Burkhardt, Greg Olson, Aaron Andrews, Tom Rinaldi, they will be doing the game on Sunday, Titans and the Eagles, and you know they're going to talk a lot about A.J. Brown, especially considering how much they talked about Odell Beckham on Thanksgiving. You know, every play was...
You'd have thought he was on the field.
You would have thought it was awful. But I'm going to tell you exactly how the week is going to go. Now, I am going to tell you the difference between what's actually going on in the Titans building and what the Titans are going to say. Which one do you want to hear first? What the Titans are actually saying amongst themselves, or what the Titans are going to say to the public over the next 3 days?
What are the Titans going to say to the public?
Okay. Mike Vrabel will be asked about it. Already was asked about it earlier this week. Mike Vrabel will be asked about it. Mike Vrabel will talk about how AJ's a really good player, and he valued his time with AJ. But AJ's part of a really good team, and they've got to focus on that whole team. They've got to focus on Jalen Hurts. They've got to focus on Miles Sanders. They got to focus on Devontae Smith. They got to focus on Quez Watkins. They got to focus on AJ Brown. They got to focus on. That's what it's going to be about.
What are they actually saying?
They are going to want to shove it on A.J. Brown.
Absolutely,
and
they are.
Here's an example of how I know this. Kevin Byard yesterday, I don't know why Byard and Robert Woods had to meet with the media. I guess the league was like, hey, we want 2 guys on Monday or so. I don't know. But Byard and Robert Woods met with the media, and Byard was asked about 5 questions about A.J. Brown. Really didn't say anything worthwhile about other than A.J.'s a friend, and I'm going to cut up with him, and he's a great player, and he's doing great, and that's a great team. But then he slid in there that he remembers the tweet during the Kansas City game. If you don't know what we're talking about, during the Titans game against Kansas City where they had Malik Willis at quarterback, A.J. sent out a tweet that said nobody open, and I think, it was a picture of him laughing?
I think it was like a laughing emoji or like a laughing meme, something
so
like that.
It was somebody laughing, and it was about how nobody was open during the Sunday Night Football game. Now, that's one of many things that A.J. Brown has put out there on Twitter that has been some kind of dig at the Titans.
Kind of thesis on that man's Twitter.
Everything. From the end of last season until the day he was traded, it was a constant line of AJ said this or AJ said that or AJ did this. And the Titans, for the most part, have really stayed out of getting into the AJ business. But Kevin Byard, when asked about AJ Brown, brings up the tweet from the Sunday night game, and just know he remembers.
AJ was obviously a very popular guy, really, but have there been some times where he kind of surprised you with some of the jab or two that he seems to take on social media back at the Titans?
I mean, AJ always had little moments on social media and stuff like that. I wouldn't say it surprised me or nothing like that. Obviously, when he tweeted that, I think it was the Kansas City game or something like that. It was during the game, so I didn't see it. I didn't see it till after the game. It was funny, but he got his thoughts and stuff like that. Obviously, he's a guy that I respect and I love and admire. You're going to chop it up with him pregame, probably after the game and everything. But, he's in Philly now. We can only focus on what we can do.
I'm telling you, he didn't forget.
Oh, I think it was the Kansas City game or maybe something
but
like that.
But he did it during the game. I didn't see it till after the game. Well, duh.
Yeah,
unless you're running over to the sidelines and they're like, hey, here's your phone, KB, and he's looking at it.
An A.J. Brown cam on the field of whatever he's been tweeting throughout the game.
But the reality is, they're going to want to shove it to AJ. Now, AJ's going to want to shove it back to them. But I think that we're going to see, inside the locker room, and it would be wise for Vrabel to do this. Last week, he did the whole it's not a revenge game with Cincinnati, and I ultimately think that was a bad idea because I don't think they gave the Bengals enough respect. I don't think they walked into that game thinking, hey, this is a team that just ruined our Super Bowl hopes last year and went to the Super Bowl themselves and won the AFC, and this team is going to do it again, and this team's coming in here to take our lunch money just like they did last year.
See, I think
and
they
that's
were,
what happened.
though.
Oh, I don't.
Did you see the video of Jeffrey Simmons in the huddle pregame?
Jeffrey Simmons always talks.
But he said last year we walked out on the wrong side of the field. We're not walking out on the wrong side of the field this time.
Yeah, he was right about that one. I don't think they talked, like, I don't think they respected Cincinnati enough. Like, just throughout the week. Because they never really talked about them. It was just like, yeah, they're good. Not a revenge game.
Because they wanted to brush off the revenge game title that a lot of people were giving that game.
And I just don't think that I don't think they respected Cincinnati enough. And I certainly don't think they respected Joe Burrow enough. But this game, I think this is a legitimate revenge game. I think the Titans organization is mad at AJ. I think the Titans players are mad at AJ. And I think it's little things like what Byard said there about the social media thing and about the tweet during the Kansas City game. I think the Titans players understand, hey, your business between you and the team, that's your business. That is, you want to get paid. You wanted the team to pay you. They didn't pay you. You felt like you were disrespected by the team. You got traded. Hey, we'll love you, wish you the best, but that's your business. That's fine. But when you're tweeting during the game about us, now it's personal.
It's personal.
Now you're making it about us. And that I think these players are going to be about. I think these players are going to want to go out there, and if nothing else, I think they're going to want to shut AJ up. Now, I think another thing about this, too, is I think the owner is going to view this as a revenge game with AJ. And I think because we know the owner is going to view that as a revenge game, I think that now if you're the coaching staff and if you're the general manager, you have to keep that in your mind going into this game, that the last thing you want to have happen, the last thing you want to see is you want to see A.J. Brown go for 147 yards and 2 touchdowns and Treylon Burks have 3 catches for 14 yards. That's the last thing you want. Because you know that the owner's emotion is in this, and you know the owner felt disrespected by A.J. Brown with all of his bull crap all of this offseason. So that's what makes it a revenge game. The fact that it's personal for the players because A.J. made it personal, and the fact that the owner, you don't trade A.J. Brown without talking to the owner. You don't do all that. You don't do that without talking to the owner. You can cut Andrew Adams, and you don't have to go talk to the owner. You don't trade A.J. Brown if you don't talk to the owner. So the owner was obviously advised throughout the whole process of what A.J. said or what A.J. wanted or what A.J. was going to do or anything else. And all the things that we heard about TD reporting that A.J. told him this, and then the Titans sources telling TD that, and then finding out that the truth was really this, and all of that, everything else. Those things, those anger the owner, and if they anger the owner, the coach knows that. And that affects the coach. And I'm going to tell you what else. I don't think Vrabel took very kindly to the way A.J. Brown left town. And I know he says he and A.J. were very close, and he told A.J. don't burn any bridges, and A.J. has absolutely burned bridges. And so I think for the coach, I think this is kind of personal. So I think that there is some juice. And then that's, just looking at the Titan side of it, of what they're saying internally about A.J., A.J. wants to go out there and have 200 yards receiving.
100%.
And A.J. is going to make sure that Jalen Hurts knows, I want the ball. And that everybody else knows, I want the ball. And the way the NFL works is in certain places, like here, if A.J. Brown walked into the meeting room and said, I want the ball, I don't know how they would react. I don't know if Vrabel would be like, no, we're doing a game plan that gives us the best chance to win, or if Vrabel, the former player, and Vrabel can be pretty petty, if Vrabel would be like, we're going to shove it up their keister, just like he did to Matt LaFleur at the end of the Packer game when they threw the bomb to Treylon Burks. That was all about pettiness, and Vrabel didn't care. Just like when they played the Patriots in 2018, and they tried the reverse throw to Brady, and it was incomplete, and the next series, the Titans threw the reverse pass to Mariota. That's Vrabel. But in Philadelphia, I guarantee you, they're like, oh, we're getting A.J. the ball this week.
Dunk on him.
So this is going to be, the Titans publicly are going to tell all of us tomorrow